Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Indonesia Final CFA Institute Research Challenge 2025-2026, organized by CFA Society Indonesia in collaboration with BRI Manajemen Investasi. My name is Made Yolanda Rizkita Margana CFA, and I will be your MC for today. It is truly a pleasure to welcome all of you to this final round. We are honored to welcome our distinguished guest, Bapak Edwin Michael Ridwan CFA, President of CFA Society Indonesia. Bapak Triyono Sudirjo CFA, Vice President of CFA Society Indonesia. Bapak Arif Budiman, as Chief Executive Officer of PT BRI Manajemen Investasi. Bapak Ignatius Denny Wicaksono CFA, Board Member of CFA Society Indonesia. Bapak Ricardo Silayan CFA, Board Member of CFA Society Indonesia. Bapak Rahmat Sugiono Halim CFA, as Executive Director of CFA Society Indonesia. Please also welcome coordinators of the Indonesia CFA Institute Research Challenge for this year. We have Ibu Vivi Handoyoli CFA, Bapak Raja Aulia Reza Abdallah CFA, Bapak Geri Yonatan Teja Kusuma CFA, Bapak Yunif Transeno CFA, Bapak Demetrius Aripitojo CFA, Bapak Wudi Warsono CFA, and Bapak Sebastian Tobing CFA. And our esteemed judges, Bapak Herman Cahyadi CFA, Chief Investment Officer of PT BRI Manajemen Investasi, Ibu Irwanti CFA, as Chief Investment Officer of PT Schroders Investment Management Indonesia, dan Bapak Demetrius Ari Pitojo CFA, as Independent Commissioner of PT Verdana Sekuritas Indonesia. We also extend a warm welcome to all mentors, finalists, and faculty advisors. We appreciate your presence here and look forward to an inspiring and competitive session. Without further ado, let's start with some opening remarks. To officially open today's event, please welcome Bapak Edwin Michael Ridwan CFA, President of CFA Society Indonesia.
Selamat pagi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Yang saya hormati, tuan rumah Bapak Arif, tentunya juga teman-teman dari CFA, Pak Denny, Pak Ari, dan semua rekan-rekan yang hadir. Teman-teman peserta dari CFA Research Challenge 2025-2026 ya. Ya tentunya kita sama-sama bersyukur bahwa hari ini kita diberikan kesehatan, bisa hadir bersama-sama di tempat yang megah ini. Saya pertama kali juga nih Pak Arif ke sini. Saya di masa lalu, di dalam kehidupan sebelumnya, saya pernah juga bergabung di Dana Reksa Investment Management dulu namanya ya. Sekarang menjadi BRI Manajemen Investasi ya Pak ya. Senang berada di sini. Pertama-tama saya ucapkan sekali lagi terima kasih kepada BRI Manajemen Investasi, Pak Arif dan semua rekan-rekan dari BRI Manajemen Investasi sudah memfasilitasi acara kita hari ini namanya CFA Research Challenge ya. Ini adalah tahun ke-20 ya, jadi cukup lama juga kita sudah menjalankan aktivitas CFA Research Challenge dan tahun ini adalah yang ke-20. Tahun ini pesertanya paling banyak ya, jadi sudah mencapai 64 tim dari berbagai kota. Ini kalau menurut catatan saya dari Bandung, Jakarta, Jogja, Malang, Semarang, Salatiga, Surabaya, dan dari 21 universitas di seluruh Indonesia. Tapi saya lihat ini hanya di Pulau Jawa ya Pak Rahmat. Mungkin next time kita juga sertakan teman-teman dari mungkin dari pulau lain ya, jangan hanya dari Jawa. Saya pikir acara seperti ini sangat penting ya, karena dalam berbagai kesempatan di universitas saya sering menyampaikan bahwa kita berkompetisi di dalam di dunia yang seperti sekarang ini yang sudah mengglobal. Kita tidak hanya berkompetisi dengan sesama rekan kita di Indonesia, tapi juga harus sudah mulai level up berkompetisi di level paling tidak regional ya, kalau bukan di level global. Jadi saya pikir acara seperti ini adalah forum yang baik untuk latihan ya bagi teman-teman semua, terutama yang masih di universitas, untuk level up dan berkompetisi di level yang regional at least ya. Kami menyambut tim yang cukup rutin ya ikut di dalam kompetisi ini, seperti dari UI, Prasmul, BINUS, IPMI, ITB, dan lain-lain. Dan juga banyak tim-tim baru dari universitas lain seperti Universitas Kristen Satya Wacana, Universitas Metodis Indonesia, dan Universitas Multimedia Nusantara yang turut serta di dalam kompetisi di tahun ini. Saya ucapkan selamat kepada finalis yang ikut serta di kompetisi hari ini. Ada Ace Capital dari IPMI Institute. Ada di mana itu? Silakan berdiri. Lalu dari Universitas Prasmul, Alpha Ventures. Silakan berdiri. Terima kasih. Ini ada dari PKN STAN. Ini kayaknya belum pernah ikut ya sebelumnya Pak Rahmat. Oh sudah pernah? Oh sering ikut, sorry ya Pak. Tim namanya Amana. Selamat datang. Lalu dari Universitas Indonesia, Eternals, tim Eternals, silakan berdiri. Terima kasih. Dari Prasmul lagi ini Fiducia Capital. Dan terakhir dari Universitas Indonesia, tim Immortal. Selamat datang. Sudah semua ya saya sebutkan ya. Jadi kompetisi hari ini akan menghasilkan 2 tim yang mewakili Indonesia. Alpha Capital. Alpha Capital dari Universitas Bina Nusantara. Mohon maaf. Ya, jadi kompetisi hari ini akan menghasilkan 2 wakil Indonesia yang akan bertanding di level regional ya Pak Rahmat ya. Untuk selanjutnya kita harapkan bisa masuk di global final. Dan sejauh ini pernah 1 tim ya Pak Rahmat ya masuk di global final. Global final tahun ini akan digelar di Hong Kong. Jadi mungkin pengalaman sedikit, saya pernah juga menjadi juri di level Asia Pasifik waktu itu di Sydney ya sebelum COVID. Saya ucapkan juga terima kasih kepada para juri yang turut serta di dalam menyukseskan acara hari ini, lalu faculty advisor, industry mentor, grader, dan para PIC yang sudah meluangkan waktunya menjadi sukarelawan menyukseskan Indonesia CFA Research Challenge 2025-2026. Tepuk tangan untuk semuanya. Saya ucapkan juga terima kasih kepada para sponsor, BRI Manajemen Investasi tentunya, Pak Arief, SBM Institut Teknologi Bandung, Kaplan EduPack, Financial Modeling Institute, Stockbit atau Bibit, dan Sukor Sekuritas. Terima kasih semuanya atas dukungan untuk acara ini. Mungkin demikian yang saya bisa sampaikan. Selamat berkompetisi. Mudah-mudahan kalian selain berkompetisi juga having fun, karena ini semua adalah proses kita sama-sama belajar dan berkompetisi. Sekali lagi, selamat berkompetisi. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Bapak Edwin, for your insightful opening remarks. Next, we have a speech by Chief Executive Officer of PT BRI Manajemen Investasi. My apologies, Pak, for the confusion regarding the title earlier. Please welcome Bapak Arif Budiman.
Okay. Firstly, I apologize. I speak in bahasa as well. Very simple. I admit. Oke, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Pertama mungkin saya menyapa dulu yang terhormat Pak Edwin Ridwan selaku Presiden CFA Society, termasuk klien utama kami juga di BRI Manajemen Investasi. Kemudian Bapak Triyono Sudirjo, CFA, Vice President CFA Society Indonesia. Selanjutnya Bapak Gary Yonatan Tejakusuma, CFA, selaku Koordinator Research Challenge 2025-2026. Pak Herman, tuan rumah juga di BRI MI yang berinisiatif menyelenggarakan acara ini di BRI MI, dan juga beserta jajaran Board of Member CFA yang hadir, dan juga mungkin peserta dari CFA Institute Research Challenge 2025-2026. Yang pertama tentunya kami BRI MI sangat terhormat Pak Edwin dan Bapak Ibu semua menjadi tuan rumah dan mungkin salah satu sponsor juga dari CFA Institute Challenge di 2025-2026 ini. Karena mungkin ini menjadi suatu hal yang sangat baik ya, terutama mungkin kami kan bergerak di industri pasar modal juga. Seperti Bapak Ibu semua dan teman-teman semua ketahui juga, mungkin salah satu kejadian lah mungkin di 2 bulan kemarin itu yang adanya turbulence gitu ya di pasar modal. Mungkin saya merasa mungkin ini menyambungkan dengan CFA gitu ya, asosiasi. Ini kan lebih kepada transparansi gitu ya, akuntabilitas dan juga integritas gitu. Nah, mungkin seperti diketahui kan CFA ini sangat mengusung dari sisi integritas gitu ya, code of conduct. Nah, ini juga mungkin menjadi suatu hal yang bagus gitu ya buat Bapak Ibu semua dan teman-teman semua. Nantinya terutama mungkin yang muda-muda ini gitu ya, teman-teman yang muda yang mengikuti challenge ini nanti yang akan berkiprah mungkin di beberapa tahun kemudian di industri menjadi istilahnya lokomotif lah, yang terutama bekerja itu mengutamakan tadi code of conduct, integritas, dan memang juga akuntabilitas seperti itu. Nah, jadi sekali lagi kami sebagai tuan rumah mungkin mengucapkan selamat bertanding buat Bapak Ibu semua, sehingga mungkin acara ini bisa berjalan lancar, sukses juga, dan menghasilkan suatu hal yang bagus, terutama untuk industri pasar modal di Indonesia. Sekali lagi terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Bapak Arif, for your support and partnership in this event. Now, let us hear from the coordinator of Indonesia CFA Institute Research Challenge 2025-2026. Please welcome Bapak Gary Yonatan Tejakusuma, CFA.
Selamat pagi Bapak Ibu semua. Saya mewakili teman-teman koordinator ya. Saya nggak sendirian. Koordinatornya ada banyak gitu. Tapi yang dikorbankan saya sepertinya. Pagi Pak Edwin, Pak Arif, Pak Triyono, fellow board member, judges juga, selamat pagi. Dan juga selamat pagi buat teman-teman peserta. Pasti tegang banget ya. Santai aja. Santai aja, kenapa? Judgesnya di sini susah-susah semua. Trust me. Allow me to mix aja ya. Jadi kita gradasi dari bahasa Indonesia, saya hybrid, nanti presentasinya bahasa Inggris gitu ya. Biar ada gradasinya gitu. Biar relax. Jadi kenapa saya perlu jelaskan lagi CFA Institute Research Challenge, karena memang ada beberapa dosen, ada beberapa tenaga pengajar dari tempat lain yang ingin belajar mengenai CFA Institute Research Challenge. CFA Institute Research Challenge itu worldwide punya competition. Tapi memang startingnya bottom up. Kita dari lokal dulu, baru naik ke sub-regional, baru ke regional, baru ke worldwide. Sifatnya sama dengan research competition yang ada pada umumnya. The one that differentiate us maybe is actually the case study. Jadi kalau research challenge biasanya yang ada di Indonesia, stock pick-nya itu bebas. Tapi kalau yang di CFA, stock pick-nya itu sama. Ini yang mungkin jadi pembeda buat kita. Karena dari sini kita tahu judges-nya spesifik ini. It's the same kind of feeling buat kita-kita yang di buy side ya. Trying to actually approve an equity name inside an investment universe, itu susahnya setengah mati. Jadi kayak IC meeting nih. Imagine ada BOD member and you guys trying to pitch Telkom. Is it a buy, is it a sell, atau is it a hold gitu. Tapi memang stock pick-nya sama. Ini yang memang differentiate kita dengan equity competition yang lain. How it works, ada 3-5 business or finance students. Nah, ini yang agak lucu ya. Biasanya yang jago angka itu ngurusin valuation, yang jago ngecap ngurusin konten gitu. Tadi di presentasi yang kita lihat adalah how you guys define your assumption, and then how you guys balance risk and return, and then how you actually propose recommendation. Jadi 3 itu ya. Jadi ada pemain belakang, pemain tengah, sama pemain depan. Jadi mesti atur baik-baik strategi. Prepare equity research report for a publicly traded company, and this year itu kayaknya ada 60 partisipan, 60 lebih partisipan. Teman-teman yang mungkin belum kesebut, volunteer-nya itu adalah para grader. Saya juga termasuk grader, kita bertujuh, itu imagine mesti baca 60 ribu. Dan isinya Telkom semua Bapak Ibu. Kata mudahan kita ya. Apa itu price war? Udah biasa gitu kan. Apa itu EV/EBITDA? Udah apa luar kepala gitu. Adanya buy, semuanya buy, tapi ujungnya nanti bye-bye gitu kan. Jangan gitu. Panelisnya banyak, ini research report writing. Mungkin nanti next year kita pakai contoh yang dari Indonesia ya Bu ya. Karena punya kita bagus-bagus loh. Beneran bagus-bagus. Apalagi presentasi. Benefitnya banyak. Ketemu mentor, ketemu peers, bisa interview ke perusahaan, bisa email IR-nya langsung, pakai embel-embel, saya ikut lomba CFA Institute Research Challenge. Semua IR itu pasti kasih jalan. Walaupun memang material non-public information-nya nggak akan di-share. Ya. Thank you sponsor, Primi, SBM ITB, Kaplan, FMI, Stockbit, dan support sekuritas. Ini adalah tim yang mengikuti lomba kita hari ini sampai dengan final. I would like to say thank you juga kepada faculty advisors. Tepuk tangan buat faculty advisors, karena tanpa mereka, kalian nggak ada di sini. I would like to say thank you as well to fellow mentors yang ada di sini, yang sudah mendedikasikan jamnya untuk bertemu dengan para peserta. Saya lihat di sini ada satu orang CFA ya, Pak Rahman Untung, dulunya mentor, sekarang faculty advisor gitu. Mungkin buat kita-kita yang fellow CFA charter holder bisa tuh, jadikan rujukan buat kita nanti pensiun bisa jadi faculty advisor gitu. Ada Is Capital dari IMI Institute, Pak Ardo sebagai Pak faculty advisor, saya sebagai mentor, Alpha Capital, Venus, ada Ibu Rita dan juga Pak Haryadi. Alpha Ventures, Prasmo, ada Bu Aulia dengan Unique. Prasmo ini ada 2 nih kayaknya ya, tiket menuju juara kayaknya. Amana, PKN Stand, kita ada Dr. Resi dengan Anugrah. Eternal UI, ada Pak Budi dengan Pak Raja juga sebagai mentor. Fiducia Capital, Prasmo, Bu Aulia dengan Bu Vivi. Immortal Universitas Indonesia juga 2, ada Pak Rahmat Untung dengan Erindra. Jujur untuk milih top 7 itu susah. Dari 60 kita milih top 7 itu susahnya setengah mati. Imagine semuanya buy. Bedanya apa coba? Ya enggak? Jadi memang proses seleksi di sisi grader itu cukup sengit terakhir. Karena bukan yang paling kompleks yang ini. Imagine ya. Jadi analis itu kalau teman-teman imagine kerja suatu hari di analis sebagai sell side, bukan yang Excel-nya sampai 20 sheet ke belakang, makronya keren banget itu yang menang, bukan. Justru yang bisa storytelling, pitching ke klien what you will experience today is actually the one that going to make the difference. Telkom. Jadi kita sebagai panitia koordinator, waktu bulan Agustus atau September, kita istilahnya dilema nih, pakai perusahaan apa ya? Yang teman-teman Gen Z ini ngerti. Kalian masih Gen Z kan, bukan Gen Alpha ya? Gen Alpha anak saya udah. Apa ya, saham apa yang teman-teman Gen Z ini familiar gitu. Masa kita mau masuk ke saham-saham yang non-funda? Saya nggak gains, tapi kan lomba kita soal funda gitu kan. Atau kita masuk ke saham-saham komoditi, atau kita masih tetap di consumer. Beberapa tahun terakhir kita udah consumer terus, dan kayaknya apa yang kita lombakan naik semua nih sahamnya gitu kan. Ada Cimori, ya kan? Walaupun tesis yang dibangun salah semua mungkin ya. Tapi yakin, direction paling nggak benar gitu. Habis itu sebelum Cimori kita punya Avian Paint. Itu juga sempat naik juga. Siapa tahu nanti Telkom kita tulis, ternyata ARA, enggak juga ya. Saya disclaimer dulu nih ya. Apa yang saya bilang hari ini bukan keputusan jual atau beli gitu ya. Cuma investment knowledge semata gitu. Tapi ya itu. Tapi seperti tadi Pak Edwin sempat mention, ini mungkin kesempatan baik untuk showcase Indonesia ke sub-regional. Karena mereka-mereka yang jadi judges di sub-regional juga pernah ngeliatin Telkom paling nggak. Karena kan Telkom one of the biggest telco company in Southeast Asian. Jadi namanya familiar buat mereka. Again, nggak pressure, tapi cukup rasakan aja tekanannya. Imagine ya, kalian will represent Indonesia di tengah badai yang ada sekarang ini. Eksternal boleh bilang Indonesia pindah ke frontier. Indonesia downgrade outlook-nya. Tapi kalau ternyata capital market kita masih bisa produce talent-talent seperti kalian, orang akan lihatnya beda. 5 tahun, 10 tahun lagi mungkin kita bisa jadi develop. Ada amin? Amin. Rules, boleh difoto teman-teman. Nanti sambil nunggu sampai maghrib kan kalian nggak tahu ngapain, mungkin bisa dibaca rules-nya. Ada 7 tim, investment recommendation untuk Telkom, 10 menit time limit untuk presentation, dan 10 menit time limit untuk Q&A. Timekeeper-nya sudah ada, dan tidak ada silent reminder. Silent time reminder masih ada 1 minute left, tapi habis itu langsung time up. Silent reminder-nya cuma 1 kali ya. Jangan kaget kalau time up-nya kencang sekali gitu. Tahun lalu kita yang kaget itu justru bukan rekomendasi beli atau jualnya, tapi kaget sama timekeeper-nya gitu ya. Karena memang tugasnya timekeeper itu nge-cut waktu di 10 menit. Dan juga Q&A-nya maksimalkan secara 10 menit. Teman-teman judges, kemarin kita sudah briefing, question-nya pasti singkat to the point, nanti teman-teman peserta yang akan menjawab dalam waktu 10 menit. Winners will be decided dari presentasi hari ini. Cell mobile phone juga tolong dimatikan, audience members should remain silent. Best 2 teams will represent Indonesia di sub-regional round. Ingat ya, kita bukan cari siapa yang paling pinter hari ini. Bukan pinter-pinteran di sini, tapi bagaimana membuat satu ruangan itu lebih pinter dari tadi pagi kita datang. Ya, bukan berusaha menjawab semua pertanyaan yang ada, tapi bagaimana kita defend our assumption, how we balance our risk and return, how we propose our recommendation. Dan ingat, saya nggak envy nih tugasnya 3 orang berikut ini ya. Nah ini, ada Pak Herman, ada Bu Anti, habis itu ada Pak Ari sebagai judges hari ini. Serem nggak? Serem banget. Serem banget. Tanya orang sell-side analis yang pernah pitching ke mereka gitu kan. Pertanyaannya bisa belok kiri, belok kanan gitu kan. Karena tugas judges ini susah sekali ya menurut saya. Milih 2 sebagai pemenang dari 7 yang akan merepresentasikan Indonesia. This is a very... Kalau sub-regional competition itu bukan cuma kompetisi ya. It's actually kesempatan buat kita ya. Apalagi di tengah badai Indonesia seperti sekarang ini. It's an opportunity for us to prove bahwa Indonesia masih punya talent. Capital marketnya masih oke. Karena kita itu didukung dari disiplinnya investor, strength-nya analis, ini membentuk suatu komunitas profesional yang masih punya integrity. Teman-teman yang sudah ambil level 1 atau kandidat ya, sama teman-teman CFA charter holder sebagai fellow, pasti pernah dengar nih term ini, capital market integrity. Itu yang didukung. Bukan kepentingannya klien, bukan kepentingannya bos, bukan bahkan kepentingan kita, tapi kepentingan dari capital market intervention. Ini yang mesti kita tunggu. Titip Pak Denny sebagai pejabat bursa.
Baik.
Pressure. Nah, ini mungkin juga teman-teman bisa foto. Ini adalah kriteria penilaian dari judges pada hari ini. Ada financial analysis, how thorough the analysis of the industry, company sama competitors, maksimum poinnya 20, valuasinya, metodologinya appropriate dan detail, 20 poin juga. ESG jangan lupa. ESG ini bukan cuma kecap manis ya teman-teman. Dia kecap manis, kecap asin, campur, micin juga. Tapi jadi mesti punya. Ya. Yang tricky biasanya Pak Ari nih pertanyaannya kalau yang ESG ini. 10 poin, presentasinya, how effective, how convincing, another 20 points. Habis itu question and answer, itu juga 20 poin, is a big way for Q&A. Team involvement 5 poin, quality of the slides 5 poin. Oke? Aman? Sudah? Next-nya sub-regional competition. Jadi di Amerika ada sub-region, Asia Pasifik, Southeastern Asia, emerging market, East Middle East Asia, sub-region juga ada. Pengelompokan ini sama kayak develop, emerging sama frontier kayaknya di MSC ya. Saya inget-ingetnya presentasi saya di IC kemarin waktu bahas MSC juga kok sama ya, develop, emerging sama frontier gitu. It's a very good opportunity, beneran. Apalagi kita bawa Telkom, kita bawa Indonesia, situasi lagi kayak gini. It's a blessing for you guys. So to actually join the competition at this point of time. Regional semifinalnya 31 Maret sampai 1 April, finalnya 2 sampai 3 April, global finalnya Hong Kong, Mei 2026. Ya. Make sure kita punya stamina. Lupakan dulu deh skripsi-skripsian atau tugas kuliah gitu kan, gitu. Maaf dosen-dosen. Ya. Karena lumayan nih kalau juara di global masuk CV itu kayak udah tembus sudah langsung kayak apa ya, Britain's Got Talent, langsung masuk semifinal tuh. Kalau interview di Brimi, interview di teman-teman by side gitu kan, langsung tembus semifinal. Siap untuk experience the greatness. I wish you all the best para peserta. I wish you all the best juga para judges. Let's enjoy this experience untuk Indonesia lebih baik sebagai capital market yang mempunyai integrity. Terima kasih. Bye.
Thank you, Bapak Gary, for your guidance and leadership in this competition. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready to begin the competition. Today, as being said, 7 finalist teams will be presenting their equity research. So please welcome our finalists. First, we have Ace Capital from IBMI Institute. Please kindly stand up. Next, we have Alpha Capital from Universitas Bina Nusantara. Please stand up. Next, we have Alpha Ventures from Universitas Prasetya Mulia. We have Amana from PKN STAN. Please stand up. We have Eternals from Universitas Indonesia. We have Fiducia Capital from Universitas Prasetya Mulia. And finally, last but not least, we have Immortal from Universitas Indonesia. And please also welcome our esteemed judges for today's competition are Bapak Herman Cahyadi, CFA, as Chief Investment Officer at PT BRI Manajemen Investasi. We also have Ibu Irwanti CFA as Chief Investment Officer of PT Strolders Investment Management Indonesia. We also have Bapak Demetrius Aripitojo CFA as Independent Commissioner of PT Verdana Sekuritas Indonesia. We kindly ask our judges to be seated at the judges' table over there. Thank you.
And
During the final session, I will be assisted by my colleague, Natalia Apriliana, who will serve as the timekeeper. Please pay attention to the time warnings provided. Based on the sequence determined during the drawing of lot on February 11, 2026, conducted via Zoom, we kindly invite our first presenting team, Alpha Ventures from Universitas Prasetya Mulia, to prepare for their presentation. Please come forward, team. Now, let us begin with our first team, Alpha Ventures from Universitas Prasetya Mulia. Are you ready, team? You will have 10 minutes for your presentation. Please pay attention to the reminders from the timekeeper. The timer will start when you start speaking.
Dear investors, have you ever wondered how one bar of signal can make your day? Whether your call goes through, your QR payment works, or your map keeps moving, it all comes down to one thing: a stable internet connections. And behind that connection stands Telkom Indonesia, powering the widest coverage and strongest network across the country. And we believe Telkom is still in the beginning phase of a sustainable growth ahead. So investors, don't miss the call because Telkom is about to rebound. We are Alpha Ventures from Universitas Prasetya Mulia, and we are beyond confident to buy a winning telco company with a target price of 4,670, implying 32.7% upside.
So, why does Telkom is a compelling company? First, Telkom is an integrated business model, and Telkom operates in the 5 different mobile segments, which with the biggest EBITDA contributor, Telkom has with the building infrastructure, Telco with coverage and quality. Combining it with this preference of quality, this will result in the higher utilization rate of the infrastructure. And this is where Telkom stands out through its vertical integrated business model, serving both B2B and B2C. This scale increases Telkom efficiency and lowers unit cost. And that integration translates into coverage. Supported by Telkom massive infrastructure, helps Telkom to cover 99% of Indonesia's populations. And that integration translates to quality. Telkom delivers a top network quality, and our survey shows that Telkom users prioritize a quality which helps Telkom to maintain their large subscriber base and the highest ARPU premium.
Moving on to our first thesis, we believe market consolidation will reignite Indonesia's ARPU growth. In an oligopoly market, competition intensity shapes the industry returns. When Indonesia's market was fragmented, competition turns into a hefty price war, with operators focusing on volume over value. As a result, ARPU grew just below 3% CAGR over the last 4 years, as steep price cuts offset the rising data usage. Now, with only 3 operators left, the market tightens and the behavior shifts, with the focus rotate from defending share to monetizing the base, prioritizing profitability, and creating headroom for Indonesia's ARPU growth. But for the growth to be sustainable, we stress test peer response and discipline. Our findings are: first, all operators now focus on profitability through our IR discussion. Second, the government support a healthier competition to improve the network quality. And most importantly, peers are financially constrained, with tight balance sheets, ROI on pressure, and a few non-core assets left to sell, making discipline no longer an option, it is necessary. That is why we expect Indonesia ARPU to grow at a 6.5% CAGR post-consolidation, driven by 3 key factors. First, as price war pressure fades, the drop of revenue in each gigabyte normalizes. In the consolidated markets like India and Thailand, yield erosion typically normalizes after consolidation. Translating it into Indonesia using a yield stabilization factor formula implies a roughly 50% improvement in yield CAGR. Second, as revenue per gigabyte stabilizes, data usage continues to grow at a double-digit rate, driven by video streaming, 5G adoption, and AI-driven application. Lastly, the growth is also supported by a 6.9% CAGR in telco spending, while affordability remains intact as ARPU to GDP remains steady at 0.59% over the forecast period.
Now, let's uncover how the market leader can win in this industry shift. We believe Telkom will be the market initiator that sets the industry pace into ARPU recovery, arriving at a growth of ARPU at 6.6% CAGR until 2030, while still maintaining its premium at 8% above industry level. But moving first sounds risky, right? If Telkom raises price, two things could come up. First is churn risk, or they can stay but they can lower their data consumptions. But don't worry, Telkom is in a winning position to mitigate both of these risks. First, survey evidence shows that Telkom has the most premium subscriber base and resulting to the lowest usage elasticity as price increases. So in simple terms, Telkom can live value without distracting demand, keeping churn minimalized. And the next one, Telkom also has the strongest cash generations by FCFF going strong at 9% CAGR until 2030 to keep upgrading for its quality, and resulting in data yield to be premium at 12 until 13% above industry level. So to convert all of these theses, we believe that it has a strong influence in ARPU recovery, which we expect that mobile top-line growth is going to re-accelerate at 6.2% CAGR until 2030. But Telkom winning strategy doesn't stop on mobile. Telkom also has another growth lever coming from a massive data center expansion in Batam and an unlocking value via Infraco, which both of these segments contributing double-digit growth to Telkom's revenue. And Telkom's total revenue consolidated is growing at 5.2% CAGR until 2030.
With revenue drivers now in place, margin expansion will determine profitability. We expect EBITDA margins to increase towards 51% by 2030 as a result of better asset utilization. This is mainly driven by two key factors. First, O&M costs. We expect operations and maintenance costs to decline going forward as Telkom has already completed its network coverage. Secondly, we expect cost per gigabyte to decline at a faster pace than the data yield erosion, allowing Telkom to absorb rising data traffic at lower unit costs, as costs will decline going forward. This is further supported with other initiatives such as subsidiary consolidation and early retirement programs set under the new board. Next, finally, we expect the new board to lower their capex proportions. Therefore, and since 2/3 of the new board is hailing from the private sector, we can expect this efficiency to sustain going forward, allowing EBIT margins to expand towards 30% by 2030. Now, let's move on to our ESG analysis.
Integrating ESG framework to our valuations, where we apply 4 steps. First, identify. We identify the materiality factor based on SASB standards and OJK standards. Second, assessment. We do assessment of Telkom from environmental side, where Telkom has initiated 3 green initiatives and responsible for 52% of the company waste. Second, from the social side, Telkom records 0 fatalities and strengthening the communities. Lastly, from the governance side, Telkom records 0 data breaches and ensuring the board, shuffle, and BOD and VOC competence. Hence, we arrive at 88.6 out of 100 for Telkom ESG score. ESG performance of Telkom is outperforming the industry, which Telkom is categorized as grade A with a lower risk level and impact the cost equity by minus 100 basis points. And lastly, Telkom final ESG score are on grade A, which is below par risk premium discount, and discount on cost of equity.
Incorporating all key investment theses, we believe the Telkom company story will translate into higher industry valuations. Therefore, we use a granular proportion of DCF upsell valuations along with market sanity check through EV EBITDA multiples and use a buyer recommendations with a 12-month target price of 4,670 rupiah, implying a 32% upside. Our SFF models implies a 30% upside, where we use a WACC of 10% and a terminal growth rate of 3.2% driven by Telkom investment and return on capital. We also account for single minority stake in Telkomsel to ensure our DCF reflects only the portion of cash flow attributable to Telkom. Our market sanity check also issues buy recommendations. Despite Telkom's stronger capital efficiency, healthier margins, and a more resilient capital structure, the stock is currently trades at a significant discount, implying a 37% asset. We also conduct a scenario analysis, and even the bear scenario still issues a hold recommendations. Our Monte Carlo simulation on 6 main key variables already reflect a 65% buy recommendations, with operation and maintenance costs being the most sensitive variables. We also consider two material downside risks. First, full industry price repair resulting in sharp decline in data yield group. However, we believe that Telkom more inelastic subscriber and outstanding quality will help the company to maintain its data yield group. Second, strong market share change happens when Telkom failed to network quality improvement. However, we believe that Telkom nationwide coverage and availability will help the company to maintain its subscriber base.
Once again, we issue a buy recommendation for Telkom with a 32.7% upside to a 1-year price target of 4,670 rupiah. We believe that margin expansion will benefit Telkom as Telkom is well positioned for margin expansion going forward. Thank you for listening, and we are open to a Q&A session.
Thank you, Tim, for your presentation.
Switch checks.
We will now begin the Q&A session. Judges, time is yours.
Thank you very much for the presentation. It's a very great presentation. Thank you for your hard work. So, two quick questions on slide 23. Slide 23 is about the ARPU forecast. So when halaman 23. Okay, so this one. So I think you forecast using the 6.6% CAGR, right? Like if you compare it to regional, like they always have like a severe competition in the past, but then there's a consolidation going on. Like, what's their conservative CAGR? Is it like 6.6% also, or above, or below? And then like on page 15, 15. So I think it's good that you have the Herfindahl index. So right now it's 3.7, right? But like in the stable regional market, like have you had a chance to like also take a look at the Herfindahl index in that region? Like I'm just wondering like what is their Herfindahl index? Thank you.
Perhaps we can answer the second question. First, please refer to the HHI for the regional. So basically, Indonesia's HHI will remain high as consolidation occurs, and this benefits the telco industry, since ARPU repair can only works if there's less player in it, so they can coordinate more effectively. And of course, there's also concerns whether government will allow the cartel to take into effect. But don't worry, the government asked for 100 megabytes per second in 2029 as a return for the ARPU upcycle. Now, please, for the first question, does the ARPU growth of 6.6 CAGR of Telkom is higher than the regional peers? So basically, since Telkom is just recently, since the telco industry just recently faced a consolidation, this ARPU inflection CAGR is the highest among its regional peers, where even in Malaysia, the consolidation failed to take hold as the government doesn't support a higher ARPU. And of course, India and Thailand, who is already consolidation take into effect a few years ago, already experienced a massive increase in ARPU, and now is expected to normalize as inflation goes on.
Allow me to add to my colleague's answer. So based on your questions about how we confident that Telkom will have an ARPU CAGR of 6.6% CAGR, as we also refer to a case study we did in another country in India and Thailand, that their premium market leader has succeeded in
retaining their premium in the future. So their premium upside will remain increased in the future, as you seen as in the graph from Bharti from Thailand and ICE from Bharti from India and ICE from Thailand. They have already succeeded to maintain its premium. So we believe that its 6.6% CAGR is really achievable for Telkom in the future, as Telkom as the market leader in this Indonesia's telco market. Thank you.
Allow me to clarify the graph. This graph is Bharti and IS ARPU premium compared to its industry peers.
Hello, congratulations, Alpha Venture. I really like the spirit and the excitement in the presentation. It truly shows confidence within the team. So it's a truly hard work. I've got few questions. The first one is, what is the dividend yield of Telkom?
6 to 7%.
Do you have the slides on that? Like, how do you get dividend yield? Let's go to Appendix. So we forecast Telkom to give a dividend payout ratio around 80% during its forecasted period, where the management target is to giving a dividend payout ratio around 70 to 90% of its net income. And the dividend yield will be around 6 to 7% during our forecasted period. Okay. Well, it's the concept of total shareholders return. Do you understand the concept? What is it?
So basically, when investors buy Telkom, they will receive a capital gain, as it is shown from DCF and our relative evaluation, and also a dividend yield, which improves. Create the return slightly higher than our capital gain due to the dividend yield.
Okay. So one of the strong point of having Telkom for investors like us is actually the dividend yield. So it will be very powerful if you include it in your presentation slides as well. Second is, how do you derive your EV/EBITDA target price? Okay, thank you, Judges, for the questions. Let's go to slide EV/EBITDA on our evaluation slide.
Yes.
For our EV/EBITDA is derived from Telkom overseas peers, where we use its peers from India, Thailand, and also Philippines that has the similar telecom industry landscape, where they already experience a market consolidation and an ARPU inflection space. And it is also we also take into account that the countries that we select is a lower middle income market. Thank you.
Allow me to add to my colleague's answer. So basically, if you can refer to India alone as the relative valuation, India's valuation already skyrocketed since 5 years after its consolidation, and we believe Telkom will mimic the similar pattern as India.
Okay, thank you. And what are the risks of investing in Telkom?
If we can refer to the appendix of bull bear case scenario, so basically, Telcoms will be as it is projected from us if the pricing discipline occurs. And however, if it fails, we project the Indonesia data yield CAGR will be 2 times lower than our base assumption of 5% CAGR. And in that case, we also forecast that Telkom's premium will be eroding, along with its margins keep eroding as well. And in that case, even the target price is still an upside potential of 4%. But we believe that Telkom is best. This pricing discipline will not fail to hold according to our assumptions, because as we can refer to the thesis 1 about why this consolidation is different. Now all operators have focused on profitability, and second, the government supports the healthier competition. Actually, the government support is a very crucial one, as in Malaysia, the consolidation fails to increase ARPU because the government doesn't support the ARPU inflection. And as we now, please can we refer to the non-core assets?
So we think industry trend where
industry peers divest their non-core assets, remaining for Excel and ESATs for around 1,000 towers left in 2025. And after non-core assets being funding, they also uh, acquire an extra fund from their core assets by divesting their ownership from Mora and Lingnet from Axel. So it will be less likely for them to trigger another price war in the future.
Okay. And allow me to add my colleague's answer. Axel 2025 estimate, actually the net income is negative, and the ESAT 2026 earnings forecast from the consensus is also a negative growth, while Telkom maintains a positive growth of earnings.
So, page 38, you apply ESG multiplier of 1%. What factor that in ESG that you make that you think Telkom would warranted a minus 1% in your multiplier?
So actually, the discount of 100 basis point of cost of equity is derived because Indonesia is one of the emerging markets, and the emerging market cost of equity premium is ranging from 50 to 150 basis point, and we pick the median.
And to add to my colleague answer, we had a direct adjustment to our financial projection, which is from the reduction on O&M expense and also the personnel and expense initiative. And we also adjust to the cost of equity, direct adjustment to our cost of equity by the initial initiative of the value driven or from the new board, under new reshuffle board. And there are positive reaction to the new board. And our minority interest is protected under the new board of commissioner is 50% independence. And if we can go refer to the board of director, which is also
Time's up. And that is time. Let's give a round of applause to Team Alpha Ventures from Universitas Prasetya Mulia. Thank you for your presentation. You may now return to your seat. Now, please welcome our next team, Alpha Capital from Universitas Bina Nusantara. Please come forward. Are you ready, team? You will have 10 minutes for your presentations. Please pay attention to the reminders from the timekeeper. The timer will start when you start speaking. Wherever you start, the floor is yours.
From price wars, we enter market recovery. So what happens next? We believe this is just the beginning of growth. That's why we, Alpha Capital, recommends buy on Telkom with 12-month target price of 4,200 target price with 90% upside potential, where we see three key reasons why we should invest in Telkom. First, strong management, ARPU upcycle, and also value unlocking.
What is it like to dominate an industry for over 6 decades but still remain relevant? Telkom is an industry leader with its key brands, Telkomsel and IndiHome commanding over 50% of market shares in their respective segments. Beyond consumer telco, Telkom also operates in the B2B infrastructure segments, becoming its second growth engine. Under Danantara Holdings, Telkom recently is exploring its own transformation strategy for further unlocking of growth. Strategy sets priority, but execution determines the outcome, which leads us to our first thesis, which is strong management leads a favorable industry cycle. Under Danantara Holdings, SOEs like Telkom are pushed to undergo a systematic transformation program with clear focus on business streamlining and also core segment optimization. In addition, Telkom's digital infrastructure segment also further aligns with Danantara's 8 priority funding focuses. In addition, private sector management of Telkom has risen to 67% out of only 29% over the past decade. This unlocks new functions like the telco, legal and regulatory, organizational management, and private equity mindset, which are key enablers to Telkom's strategic transformation. We also conducted an analysis of Telkom's management quality using the board skill matrix, where results show a strong management quality that will be functional to enable Telkom's future strategy, which is subsidiary streamlining and asset monetization. Here comes Telkom's inefficiency. Telkom has over 62 subsidiaries, with 10% of the total assets coming from non-core entities. It plans to merge, divest, and transfer these subsidiaries, resulting to 22 total subsidiaries by 2028. The ending result is a strategic holding that is aligned with its business verticals, with the overall execution process overseen by Willis Island for people management and also Andy Kulana providing legal oversight for the restructuring. A second strategy of Telkom is the TIF monetization, which will unlock new revenue resource. This overall will be managed by Arthur Angelo with his private equity mindset and also Andy Kulana, who will streamline legal and regulatory throughput. Overall, this creates a more efficient CAPEX allocation and translates into improving FCF for Telkom.
Let's move to our second thesis. Purchasing power returns, price wars weight, ARPU upcycle is back. We expect Telkom's house ARPU to reach 48,000 by 2030. This is driven by three things: usage normalized, more rational competitions, and Indonesia ARPUs relatively low compared to its peers. As ARPU recovers, we forecast a 2.5% CAGR revenue with an improving EBITDA margin year by year. And in this third quarter of 2025, both Indonesia economic sentiment and labor market overview shows a strong recovery. Additionally, with the GDP Indonesia's in the fourth quarter of 2025 with a 5.4% growth. So all these indicators point to the outlooking of the improving of the purchasing power, where it leads to ARPU recovery from all of the MNOs in the third quarter of 2025, and additionally with PSAT's fourth quarter 25 with 44,000 ARPU, which complementing the positive trend. And a duopoly market structure with price rationalizations and with Telkom product simplifications translate into a higher data yield.
Compared to the region, Indonesia's ARPU and also mobile data consumption are still very low, indicating there's a clear room for further growth. This is supported by Telkom's a giant market share and also high mobile revenue and data traffic per BTS. And also industry also improved into the 5G era, indicating there's a ARPU recovery beyond pricing alone. Where Telkom has a nationwide coverage and also a giant network scale that can create a capacity moat versus peers. So what are we waiting for? Yes, demand. Where our field observation confirmed this shift, where consumers prefer network quality and also stability, and Telkom is the best among the peers. And the ARPU story extends into the fixed broadband, where 70% of penetration households remain underpenetrated, especially in the low and also middle income segment. So, together, the ARPU upcycle accelerates Telkom's shift from a telco into a telco plus infrastructure platform, indicating unlock and differential value and also re-rating valuation.
Okay, our last thesis is TIF monetization drives structural re-rating and dividend upside. The fiber carve-out unlocks value by improving both revenue and cost. As a standalone platform, Indonesia enables external wholesale monetization to ISPs, while more focused network operations drive cost efficiency, supporting valuation re-rating at the group level. Asset unlocking has driven valuation in peers, not just in theory. Singtel's asset monetization announcements in May 2024 led to a clear EV/EBITDA re-rating, providing a proven blueprint for Telkom. Telkom delivered strong ROE while still trade at a multiple that doesn't reflect its hidden asset value. Standalone fiber infracos trade at materially higher multiple compared to traditional telco company, suggesting valuation uplift, and partial stake sales would then lift the dividend yield to approximately 9 until 14%. And we expect that TIF revenue will reach for around 8.3 trillion rupiah by 2030. Telkom's net gearing continues to trend down on the back of FCFF generation, post-peak capex, and the stronger balance sheet enhances downside protection and capital allocation flexibility. Therefore, we value Telkom using a sum of the parts approach arriving at a target price of 4,200 rupiah per share, implying 19% upside from the current price. SOTP is fully weighted because it best reflects Telkom as the transformation to infrastructure holding company. And we also use DCF and relative valuation as our sanity checks. Our SOCP is used by separately valuing Telkomsel, Mitratel, Indonesia, data centers, and other business by using based on EV/EBITDA multiples. And based on our sensitivity analysis shows that Telkom's remains resilient across ARPU and subscriber scenarios, which downside case still implying upside. And we also use discounted cash flow as our sanity checks, and increasing in margin discipline, ARPU recovery, and also cash generation translates into FCFF uplifts. We also use a conservative WACC of 9.1% with a terminal growth rate of 2%. And our relative valuation using PE and EV/EBITDA multiples also supports our buy recommendation. As MSCI-related catalyst stocks lost momentum due to these recent issues, we believe that Telkom will be more attractive as the market will rotate back to the strong fundamental stocks such as like Telkom.
The first key risk is the macroeconomic risk that weaken the purchasing power, hence delaying the ARPU recovery. Telkom mitigates by affordability, data-driven selective monetization, and capturing opportunities with APBN. So, and the second risk is the intense competition. Telkom mitigates by the leverage coverage, FMC bundling, and then the protect the fixed broadband coverage.
In terms of sustainability, Telkom has built a strong fundamentals in ESG score. We assess Telkom using MSCI framework, and Telkom has achieved a score of 7.19 out of 10, placing the company in the AA category. On the environmental aspect, the main challenge of Telkom is electricity consumption and also gas emission. To address this, Telkom has do some key initiatives such as Telkom Power PTS, investing in energy efficiency, and also do initiative in water management and biodiversity. In social aspect, Telkom has covered 99% of country population while increasing diverse workforce with increase in female work representative in 2022-2024. In governance aspect, Telkom has do anti-bribery management system and also anti-corruption regulation which strengthen, reinforce investor confidence in data governance. With that, our ESG is reflected in our valuation through ESG SG&A cost adjustment, which increase as a percentage of revenue, and also cost of capital, which 10 pips reduction in cost of equity means 3% upside in our valuation. With that, we reiterate our buy recommendation on Telkom Indonesia with a target price.
Time's up, team. Thank you for your presentation. We'll now begin the Q&A session. Judges, time is yours.
Hi. Regarding the capex efficiency, do you have the ROIC number? How does the trend so far, and what is the trend going forward?
Let's go to appendix financial. Topic T13. Okay, this is the ROIC trend that we forecast that from 2025 until 2030 will increasing steadily.
Yes.
The reason why do you think it's going to be on the upward trend, and why in the last 5 years it's going to be on 8, while in the last 4 years on declining trend?
Okay, so we forecast that the ROIC will Can we go to appendix and the main deck and strong management? So to give a bit of perhaps background regarding the CAPEX, Telkom is actually in a transformation program, and we do believe that the BOD is very capable to drive this transformation. And one of our key points in our first thesis is actually CAPEX efficiency. And who will drive this CAPEX efficiency It's these four people. These are the four core BOD members who we believe will drive further streamlining of costs. And if we were to pick one particular person, it would be Arthur Angelo, since he has a private equity mindset from his previous experiences. Former investment banking analyst at Morgan Stanley, partner at Stanbridge Partners. So yes, we do believe that these backgrounds of the BOD will further make the capex more efficient, and then also translating to further FCF growth for Telkom. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Alpha Capital, for the presentation. I think one of the strong point is you putting a lot of the current themes into your presentation, like the MSCI and the infra story of unlocking value of Telkom. But I'm missing your big assumptions on revenue growth, EBITDA growth, net profit growth. What is the trend going forward? And how do you derive into that assumptions? And revenue growth 2.5%, it's not very compelling. Yeah, what are the assumptions behind those 2.5% revenue growth?
Okay, our assumptions are so basically Telkom's 70% of revenue is driven by its mobile segment, which is like 70%. So we put the assumptions from the ARPU growth, which is 2% by CAGR by 2030, and we expect that the other segments will also drive the revenue to goes up, while we in the first thesis we also state that the strong management will make the capex more efficient, which means cost efficiency. So it will drive the EBITDA margin will increase. Yeah. So our main revenue drivers are based on the ARPU growth and also the cost efficiency from the strong management itself.
What is the net profit growth?
The net profit growth is for around 2%.
If the revenue growth by 2.5% and there is EBITDA margin expansion, theoretically the net profit growth should be faster than the top line growth. So there's a bit of an inconsistency in your financial modeling. That is the sanity check that you need to do when you derive the big assumptions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, thank you for the presentation. A very good one. A quick question on page 27 about the SKU rationalization. Yeah. So this one from 6,000 SKUs to 400 SKUs. So which one they are trying with which brand, which brand they are trying to downsize, and then which second? Because like from 6,000 to 400 is really a lot.
Thank you for the question. I'll be happy to answer it. So we believe that in this market recovery phase, we believe Telkom erased their cheaper package like Simpati and Telkom Satellite will be maintained. So the cheaper package.
And then a quick question on page 12 about the management scoring. Yeah. This one, how you get all this thing here? Average 23.7.
Can we go to the
maximum 27?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yes, these scorings are based on our team analysis through various news sources, and the scoring alone here are graded based on the skills of the board members. So it is scored from 1 to 3, with 3 being maximum and 1 being the minimum. And can we go to the result? From there, we achieved 27, which if in percentage, it's 88%, indicating strong management.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you for the question.
Questions? Good.
Regarding your ESG, what factors do you think will impact the most from the ESG side, the sustainability side, to your forecast? Sustainability, I'm not saying ESG.
Okay, thank you for the question, Pak. So, we believe that from our ESG, the most factors that would be impacted our valuation is our cost of equity and cost of capital, where we see that Telkom has a good ESG performance through the score that we assess in the MSCI framework. We believe that it will make the investors' perception is really good, and also it will be affected the beta and the volatility. We expect that the good ESG performance will less likely to impact the volatility. So with less volatility, we see that the beta will be lowering, and the cost of equity and also cost of capital will be lower. And also from the lower WACC, we expect that the valuation will be higher than our calculation.
You know, as SASB standard? Of our telcos, do you know? What is the most two important factor for telcos for SASB standard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we still have time? Okay. 1 minute. Yeah, so I guess why do you think Telkom will lower the capex this year? What are they spending on this year? Do you think we're gonna go to 5G? Nah. Okay, so to answer your question, yes, we do believe where we go to slide 31. We see a demand of 5G by 2030, where also, in the next slide, Telkom has a nationwide coverage into the 5G areas, including the Java and Sumatra, including the 3D areas, and also based on our independent survey, most users are having consumption with social media and also streaming. So with 5G, time's up, team. Thank you so much for your question.
Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, Team Alpha Capital from Universitas Bina Nusantara for your presentation. You may now return to your seats.
Now, please welcome the next team, Amana from PKN STAN. Please come forward. Are you ready, team? You will have 10 minutes for your presentation. Please pay attention to the reminders from the timekeeper. The timer will start when you start speaking. Whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
As Indonesia's digital economy accelerates, Telkom remains its primary beneficiary, mainly from monetizing the nation's backbone through fixed mobile convergence and infrastructure. Yet, its valuation does not fully reflect its role. Hence, we issue a buy recommendation with an 18.09% upside based on fiber and FMC dominance, structural efficiency, and business-to-business growth.
Despite an industry-wide slowdown, Telkom remains resilient by significant internet demand and growth potential outside Java. It is built by three key points as we can see. And then, when increases competition has adjusted our market share, Telkom still have the biggest slice of Indonesian market. And then, Telkom is successfully diversifying its income by revenue growth in other segments like consumer, enterprise, and others. It's anchored by a massive digital footprint that's shown on the slide. And then a vertical integrated business process have telecom opportunity because it's ensure the maximum efficiency, and then the end-to-end control allow telecom to dominance from the infrastructure until the internet user experience. And then we outline telecom strategic by 5-fold move, and telecom can more profitable with infraco and dataco. And the last is telecom is interference by Indonesia government. And we are moving to our reason why we should buy telecom. So in our first thesis, we position telecom at the center of Indonesian digital future by 3 key industries. But before that, Indonesia has the lowest penetration despite the having largest population at the region. We not see that as the weak demand, but as a historical supply and affordability constraint. It's matter because telecom is already built the infrastructure. And then telecom advantage is the irreversibility network scale, the nationwide, the BTS existence, and the subsea connectivity is a high replacement cost. So if the competitor need to replicating telecom scale, it's economically irrational. And then we are moving to fixed mobile convergence. So this is economic mechanism because it is lower churn and get telecom better in capital efficiency. With FMC and Indonesia, telecom can dominate Indonesian market and get double income with enabling another ISP. Next, the last is AI adoption. So AI adoption is the sheer value towards the infrastructure. So cloud and data center are fiber intensive. So Indonesia are benefit because creates high utilization. So there give the revenue growth for telecom. So telecom is involved from the telecommunication operator into a digital infrastructure backbone.
Move on to our second thesis is about structural efficiency. Telkom is operated with a highly fragmented structure. This complexity reduce efficiency and weaken accountability across the group. Management now is simplifying the structure through subsidiary rationalization and operational streamlining. The objective is to reduce duplication and therefore improve efficiency. This is supported by initiatives such as FMC and infrastructure consolidation. This change translates into better earnings quality. We see a sign of margin improvement driven by operating expense discipline rather than aggressive revenue growth. More importantly, the leverage metric remains stable, indicates that efficiency gains are structural. Move on to our reason why we should buy telecom. Our conviction starts with the limitation of consumer connectivity market. Subscriber growth no longer guarantees revenue growth. Market maturity and pricing pressure constrain long-term monetization. Telkom is well-positioned in B2B digital service. It has broad customer base, including government, SOEs, and corporates. B2B revenues are contract-based and recurring, providing higher visibility than the consumer segment. Before underwriting future B2B expansion, we assess the current financial condition. Operating cash flow remains resilient, showing no disruption in cash generation, while the receivable have increased with higher enterprise exposure. Looking ahead, data center and cloud service extends Telkom B2B growth opportunity. Those services are infrastructure-led and contract-based, supporting long-term revenue visibility. We view this as a structural optionality built on Telkom existing enterprise relationships.
Moving on to valuation, we did not build our model in a vacuum. Rather, we directly translate our qualitative investment thesis into quantitative inputs for our DCF model. First, for fiber and FMC dominance, we forecast the network and other telco internet service to grow double-digit CAGR, while Indium revenue grows steadily. Second, for structural efficiency, we project the capex to revenue ratio stabilizing at 17 to 19%. Furthermore, we forecast a declining legacy and SGA expense and stable net debt to EBITDA ratio. Third, for B2B growth, we forecast data internet and IT service revenue to grow a CAGR of 2%, while terminal growth rate 3.5%. For those input, we construct a 5-year CFF model. We utilizing a WACC of 11.85% and terminal growth rate 3.5%, with 4 consideration: GDP, inflation, high competition, and sustainable growth rate. Our base case scenario implies a 43.90 rupiah, implies offering a 24% upside. We also forecast a bear and bull scenarios while modifying the revenue, FCFF, terminal growth, and AWAC. To validate our intrinsic valuation, we compare Telkom against both domestic peers like Indosat and XL, and global peers like PLTT and Singtel. Telkom currently trades at a steep discount across all major multiples, like it trades at 5 times EV/EBITDA, representing a massive discount against its peers, like 7 times EV/EBITDA, 12% PBV, and 7% of PE. Bringing it all together on our final valuation, by triangulating DCF and PE relative valuation, we have derived a target price of 41.68 rupiah. By currently trading near its PE median, we strongly use Telkom by recommendation for Telkom.
Along with strategy and valuation, we have analyzed several risks. The first one that is substantial is consumers' bargaining power. The next is increasing competitions in mobile and fixed broadband market. It decreases revenue by 2.07%, but as we can see here, it is still far away from our hold threshold. Interestingly, decreasing average revenue per user is offset by increasing subscriber base, further solidifying Telkom's dominance.
So moving to the ESG analysis, Telkom performance has very significant strengthened, highlighted by a surge in BPKP score from 74 to 91, and also got the outstanding leadership award from CNBC. This stayed very good. And also Refinitiv score Telkom 61, outperformed China and Etisalat at the same market capital in Asia. And also our self-assessment score Telkom 3.4, which the same peers in Indonesia and also one peers in Asia Intel. This position tells that Telkom is highly competitive and has upside potential in the future. Moving to the environment side, Telkom commitment to 2030 sustainability, where they have a challenge expand BTS in 2024. The strategy also maintain it with renewable energy and successfully reduce the gas emission. Moving to the social aspect is the strongest aspect that they have. Refinitiv score 78 and also our self-assessment scores 3.7. This because of Telkom recognized by HR Asia as one of the best company to work for and also got the ISO 45000 implement certified management system. Moving to the governance side, Telkom got a score from ASEAN Corporate Governance Scorecard more than 100, which means very good. And also our self-assessment score 3.7. This because of they got a 2024 Tempo Integrity Index Award and also got the implemented ISO 27000 and have full compliance with national PDB laws and international IFRS standard. So in conclusion, we issue by recommendation based on fiber and the FMC dominance and also structural efficiency and B2B growth for long-term opportunity for the investor in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, team. We will now begin the Q&A session. Judges, time is yours. Here.
Okay, thank you for the great presentation. Here are 3 quick questions on page 21 regarding the data center. So actually, what the data center what is its percentage of revenue of Telkom in, let's say, in 5 years from now? And then question number 2 is on page 16 regarding the EBIT margin. EBIT margin, So EBIT margin right now is about 27%, and then you project it to increase by 8% EBIT margin. It's really high, Can you explain to us what drives those 8% margin expansion? And actually, what is your revenue growth and EBITDA growth going forward? Your projection? That's all.
Thank you for your question. About EBIT margin, we assume that Telkom will
cut off their subsidiaries, as they said on media, from 90 to 22, and it will be done in 2027 if I'm not mistaken. And because Telkom is below Danantara management, Danantara also tell Telkom to reduce their subsidiaries. That's the main assumption why the EBIT margin can increase, because we reduce all of the expense, uh, all of the expense, including cost of revenue and SGA expense.
So for the EBIT margin, it accompanying the EBIT margin for SGA expense, we also forecast 17 to 15, declining to 15% on the thesis. So for SGA expense, this directly increase the operating profit margin assumption in the DCF model. So it comes from the data Tara regulation for regulating the SGA expense and structural efficiency. So we come up with that to forecast the SGA expense and operating profit margin assumption to comes declining, and operating profit margin is to 29%.
For addition, so the contributing of data center in telecom revenue is right now is low, around to 20, but it is have the biggest opportunity in the future, because Telkom wants to expansion data center in Cikarang and Batam. So it is the biggest opportunity for Telkom to capture the revenue growth from them. Thank you.
Hello, Amana.
It is.
I think one of the strong point is the comment when you made subscriber growth doesn't translate into strong revenue growth all the time, but you should have been able to elaborate on that. So that means the growth driver is not subscriber growth, but ARPU. ARPU driven by what? I think we're missing that connection to ARPU. And if you go, can you go back to slide 2? I don't see a very compelling buy story sih. Kalau if you look at this mobile broadband market share Telkom, is this Telkom market share? Why is it coming down all the time from 19 to 24? And why do you think Telkom is an attractive stock to invest in?
Okay, thank you for your question. So, right now, the mobile share of Telkom is already have slowed down, but it is because the price competition at the market and the competition like XL Axiata and the Indosat Ooredoo. So, Telkom is not just done with that, but Telkom is give strategic by for fixed mobile convergence. So it is give the consumer low churn. So more than subscriber market share growth, Telkom is focused on the loyal consumer. So there is many revenue that Telkom get from FMC.
In addition, for the key forecast driver, we state that the subscriber growth not combining with the revenue growth, but we use the subscriber for one of the key forecast driver, accompanying with the ARPU, with the mobile ARPU and FBB subscriber, blended FBB ARPU, data pilot, and SMS traffic. From this key forecast driver, we forecast in the key ratio from the cash flow and the income statement, so that we state revenue subscriber growth is one of the aspect for we to use a key forecast driver.
Okay, and in addition, as we can see there, that we forecast data payload will increase around double-digit compound annual growth rate. It is because, as we explained before, that AI will increase and data center will increase, and that need internet that will use internet. So the data pilot is the key driver of uh, some revenue for us to forecast to the future.
But why is the ARPU continue to go down? Subscriber going down, ARPU going down, but your revenue is up.
So the revenue is up, not from only from the mobile subscriber and the mobile segment, because the revenue is growth because Telkom has already increases and investing in other segment, like from the B2B growth like data center and the segment like another segment.
So to answering why the ARPU is going to decreasing, and is it because the market is adjusting the merging of IndiHome to Telkomsel, and then the competition of the internet Indonesia is strong, and there is a price competition in Indonesia. So the ARPU is going to adjusting, but we see that the ARPU is going to up when adjusting is complete.
In this key forecast driver, subscriber it's not a key component, like a very important component compared to average revenue per user. But actually, it's the increase of subscribers. Even though the average revenue per user is declining, the increase of subscribers makes the total revenue coming in even more than before. And besides, even though the decreasing market shares of mobile and legacy segment is decreasing, it is okay because Telkom's strategy is already on action. It is shifting into other sources of revenue, such as infrastructure utilization. Any other? We hope this answers your question.
Thank you. Do you have a measure of capex efficiency for Telkom? Good.
Okay, we assume that all of the cash on investing activities come from capex. This is our forecast that for the company Telkom also state in their annual report that they will maintain their capex around 19% of the revenue. So we also forecast that as Telkom state in the annual report.
So you use capex to revenue as an efficiency measure? As a capex efficiency measure? What happens is the revenue coming down?
I'm sorry, sir.
So you only use the capex to revenue as a metrics for capex efficiency?
Yes, sir. So we from the statement in the annual report that the capex with maintained with 17 to 19%. So we use the metrics that metrics to P2P.
And that is time, team.
Thank you.
Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, Team Amana from PKN Stan, for your presentation. You may now return to your seats.
Please welcome the next team, Eternals from Universitas Indonesia. Please come forward.
Okay, now all set up. Team, are you ready? You will have 10 minutes for your presentation. Please pay attention to the reminder from the timekeepers. The timer will start when you start speaking. Whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Good morning, honorable judges. We all know that Telkom is the biggest telco operator in Indonesia. It has the largest market share, the widest network coverage, and the most extensive infrastructure in the country. But despite being the biggest, Telkom had been a disappointing stock. its share price had significantly underperformed its peers, and ARPU had been declining for years. Telkom was a market leader in size, but a market laggard in returns. But we believe that this time is different because in 2025, a structural change occurred when Danantara shifted the focus of the company. This is reflected by 70% of the management now coming from private sector, the highest in 20 years. And this leads to the core question of our investment case. What's different in Telkom today and why should we invest now? We believe that Telkom is undergoing three structural shifts that change the trajectory of its outlook. First one is the mobile business turnaround as the era of price wars come to an end. And then second, fiber monetization, which creates a new high margin cash engine. And finally, third, strategic initiatives to unlock shareholder value. These three catalysts underpin our buy recommendation on Telkom with a 12-month target price of 4,100 rupiah, implying an 18% upside. Now on to our first thesis. Over the last 2 years, Telkom's ARPU has been destroyed by its own price wars, even as the broader industry has thrived. But we believe this time is different. First, Indonesia has just consolidated into a global triopoly end state, mirroring successful peers like India and the Philippines, where similar consolidation leads to a structural bull run, a story that Indonesia is now poised to follow. Furthermore, this structure forces discipline across all three players. They are now constrained by their own internal mandates, leaving no room for price wars and enabling an industry-wide price rationalization. The evidence is clear. Our on-the-ground survey and price tracker shows the removal of loyal bundles. And also, we've seen a clear inflection point visible on the results of 3Q 25. And now, on to the bigger question. Can the consumer absorb this price increase? Absolutely. Indonesia's ARPU to GDP per capita ratio is the lowest in their region, revealing a massive monetization headroom to be captured by a young, data-driven demographic. Furthermore, our survey confirms that 80% of these data-hungry consumers now prioritize non-price factors, such as speed and stability, the exact metrics where Telkom leads. And with that, we believe that this price rationalization would then reverse Telkom's mobile revenue trajectory into delivering a robust 4.5% revenue CAGR.
On to our second thesis. For a long time, Telkom has built their fiber network under Indonesia. However, we believe that there's a big gap between what's built and what's actually subscribed, as utilization sits low at only 28%. Historically, we see that Telkom's fiber network is being utilized by only IndiHome. But now, Telkom is making a step change to an open access strategy, allowing other ISPs to scale by using Telkom's fiber network. 3 reasons why fiber monetization is attractive. First, a sizable customer pool of 79% ISPs lack of fiber assets, making them hard to scale independently. We see a clear leverage as leasing provides lower upfront capex and faster rollout timelines. Second, Telkom's huge scale of 28 million ready home passes, giving ISPs a low-hanging fruit access. We also see ISPs prioritizing non-price factors, which benefits Indonesia as their preferred partner for fiber leasing. And third, we see that the Indonesia FBB penetration is relatively low to its peer, making a clear path to triple over the next 15 years. Moving forward, we expect Indonesia to deliver 7.6 million new subscribers and delivering 6% extra revenue by 2030. With higher EBITDA margin and lift ROE by 3%, ultimately, we see Indonesia as the key contributor to Telkom's value creation, unlocking 52 trillion rupiah.
Now, on to our final thesis. We see that historically, Telkom's business has been highly diversified in non-core businesses, which prove that it has low profitability and diluting shareholder value. But today, everything has changed.
we see that the management is cutting down those unprofitable subsidiaries and potentially saving 7 trillion in annual costs. This will also boost profitability, where we see that NPM will improve by 110 bips and ROE 350 bips. At the same time, we see that the streamlining will allow telecom to scale back capex from non-core subsidiaries and refocusing it back on core businesses. Hence, this is an improvement to telecom's ability to create returns, as we see FCF increasing from a mere 4% CAGR into an outstanding 10% CAGR, followed by ROIC from only 14% and reaching 17%. This cash flow profile supports our view that an elevated 90% dividend payout is more than achievable. This will boost dividend yields past historical levels. And as the cherry on top, the divestments could unlock 56 trillion rupiah in proceeds that will translate into a 15% special dividend yield and reinforcing Telkom's return-driven investment story.
Moving on to valuation, we value Telkom using the sum of the part methods. We run a target price of 4,100 rupiah, representing 18% potential upside. Our scenario analysis yield limited downside, with potential total shareholder returns of 25%, both from upside potential and dividend yield. For SOTP, we apply DCF and EV/EBITDA multiple in valuing Telkom's 5 key business segments, adjusting minority stake for Telkomsel and Mitratel. Importantly, we do not assume the stake sale for Indonesia and Nutradisil. Based on the current price action, we estimate that Telkomsel and Indonesia are still trading at discount of 17% and 22% respectively. We believe Telkom is set to remain supported by sustained ARPU growth, growing recognition of Indonesia's superior earnings, and the entry of strategic partners. We also conduct a sanity check through peer relative valuation. We selected 10 companies in our peer set based on their business model, company size, and operational environment. Our analysis on EV/EBITDA multiple shows historical undervaluation of 37%. On the other hand, Telkom can deliver a superior ROIC of 14% compared to its peers. Hence, we believe the valuation gap to narrow. Our relative valuation using EV/EBITDA multiple shows 22% potential upside, which support our buy recommendation. However, we identify 2 key downside risks to our target price. First, recognition and price wars in the mobile segment. We are of the view that the price war is now becoming irrational, further supported as Telkom's new management shifts priority towards shareholder return rather than market share. Second, higher than expected fixed wireless access technology adoption. However, we see this risk is limited as FTTH remains the gold standard with superior quality compared to the fixed wireless access.
We assess Telkom's ESG performance using our own customized scorecard adjusted for Telkom-specific industry based on MSCI and LSEG framework for better relevance, where Telkom scores around 12% higher than its peers' average. On the environmental side, Telkom is cutting power emission through solar BTS and recycled fiber leasing. And on the social aspect, Telkom strengthens long-term competitiveness through digital talent development and industry-leading gender diversity. And finally, on the governance side, Telkom has shifted to a more professional and return-focused management backed by 70% of board members coming from private sector, high dividend payout ratio, and a recent share buyback. All in all, we would like to reiterate our buy recommendation on Telkom with a 12-month target price of 4,100 rupiah, implying an 18% upside. We believe that these changes make Telkom not just larger, but fundamentally investable again. We are Eternals from Universitas Indonesia, and this is our recommendation.
Thank you, Team Eternals. We will now begin the Q&A session. Judges, the time is yours.
Thank you. You mentioned that Telkom's ROIC are better compared to their peers, right? Do you compare this ROIC to WACC also?
Yeah, we compare it. So the ROIC of Telkom currently sits in 40%, but we
our calculation for WACC for Telkom is 11%. So basically, the ROIC is higher than the WACC.
But to the peers, to the regional peers,
Regional peers, as we see in our valuation,
no, ROIC minus WACC to their regional peers.
yeah. If we go to the here, we conducted ROIC DuPont analysis for Telkom and also its peers. We see that the ROIC is coming from both
WACC, ROIC minus WACC. Do you have the WACC of other peers?
We do not calculate the WACC for other peers, but we believe that this ROIC is comparable to our company. So we say this as Telkom edge compared to its peers.
Hello, Eternals. Well, the presentation is very structured, very seamless, easy to follow, and yeah, well done on that. I think I got questions on the dividend yield. Can you go back to slide? There's no slide numbers in your slides. So the dividend yield thesis number 3. I could be wrong, but is it ever Telkom dividend yield at 3.9% that low in 2022?
So, yeah, thank you for the question. This is our this is the historical chart we took from the of course the financial report, and also we use the last price of that year to count that. Sorry, we put it on that last price of that year. So it's the dividend yield is quantified from that part. We use the last price of each year. It has been that low in 2022.
Okay, probably if you can check on the payout as well, you get that dividend yield.
So we get the dividend yield by divided the dividend per share by the average share price of the year. So if you can see, the price in 2022 is relatively high compared to the recent years. So basically, the dividend yield is lower.
So do you know how to calculate dividend per share? How do you get dividend per share?
Yeah. We will calculate dividend per share by divided dividend per share outstanding.
The dividend per share, how do you get dividend per share, like the rupiah number of dividend per share?
So basically, we got the dividend per share using the Telkom earnings minus the minority stake and minority interest, and we times the dividend payout. We assume the 90% flat, and we divided it by the outstanding shares, basically.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. So earnings per share multiplied by dividend payout ratio, then you get the dividend per share. Basically, that's how you calculate dividend per share. And what is the PE of Telkom, and why do you decide not using price to earnings ratio as one of your valuation methodology?
So basically, we take into consideration for PE, but we use EV/EBITDA multiple as our main metrics for relative valuation, because we see that Telkom is telecommunication company that requires high capex requirement every years, then the depreciation and amortization is highly significant for its earnings. So we compare the EV/EBITDA to better compare it to the peers.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, thank you for the great presentation. Quick question on slide number 9 regarding the ARPU. Slide number 9. Yeah, so actually, what is the CAGR of the ARPU growth here? And like, do you know what's the CAGR ARPU growth of its competitor like Excel and Indosat?
They are
Okay.
well, Eric,
Okay, I would be glad to take that question. First of all, thank you. As for the CAGR, we haven't estimated, but you could see clearly from this chart that telecom has been previously has been declining while the industry has increased, but that was because of their own price war. But we forecast that in the future there will be no more price war. Thus, maybe we could go to the forecasted output. Thus we forecast that telecom's ARPU will then rebound due to two drivers: data yield and from the data usage.
Okay. And on page 27, regarding the cost deduction, page 27. Yeah, this one. So like, you have to break down of that 7 trillion.
yes, thank you for the question, Mr. Herman. We do have the calculation for that part. Can we go to this history about okay? Oh no, next slide. Next slide. Yes, this is our calculation of the savings. Basically, we took the other segments and the enterprise segments, which we assume as the non-core subsidiaries, and we took the net profit, and we calculate that from these numbers, it's an estimated cost savings of 6.6 trillion based on the financial year 2024 financial report.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Thank you. In your risk, do you think technology is not part of your considered risk for Telkom? And why is it not part of your risk calculation?
Okay. Okay, so we believe that in terms of technology, we see that the FTTH will remain the structural winner due to three factors. The first one is the superior network stability, because we see that the FTTH is extremely more stable related to than the FWH, with minimally affected by weather and other interference from physical obstruction. And second, we also see that the FTTH have much lower latency rather than the FWH, so it's ideal for a more high internet usage. And also, we also see that the FTTH have the higher download speed rather than the fixed wireless access. So overall, we believe that the FTTH, the fiber technology, will remain superior rather than the fixed wireless access.
When have you any data regarding the data security issues? Telkom data security issues?
When we assess the ESG performance of Telkom, we take into account that data breaching issue into our calculation. But based on the sustainability report of Telkom, they disclosed that there was no data breaching issue or data breaching case in 2024. That was what the company stated in their sustainability report.
You don't Google it? You don't Google it? Search for other sources aside from Telkom?
Okay, time's up. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you, Team Eternals from Universitas Indonesia, for your presentation. You may now return to your seats. Now, please welcome the next team, Fiducia Capital from Universitas Prasetya Mulia. Please come forward. Are you ready, team? You will have 10 minutes for your presentation. Please pay attention to the reminder from the timekeepers. The timer will start when you start speaking. Whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
What if the most overlooked investment opportunity in the market is the company that everyone thought they already understood? Most see telecom as a boring and predictable telco company. However, we see a tiger that just finished its nap. The structural improvement in the competitive landscape, strategic spin-off, and revamped management, the awakening isn't just coming. It is happening. We are Fiducia Capital, and we issue a buy recommendation on Telkom, offering a 31.3% total shareholder return.
Our buy recommendation is driven by three key catalysts: post-consolidation playbooks, strategic spin-offs, and enhanced governance, translating to 24.5% upside and 2026 dividend yield to 6.8%. This works because Telkom is more than just a telco. Telkom is powered by B2C 72% as of revenue through Telkomsel and IndiHome, and B2B 28% as the growth driver, backed by a hard-to-replicate mode in towers, fiber centers, and data centers. Telkom is shifting from service provider to network enabler, monetizing its infrastructure by capturing first capex, South Asia, and becoming the backbone of Indonesia's digital economy. The telco industry landscape has also changed significantly in the past few years. Previously, the industry was plagued by price wars. However, with consolidation cutting the number of players by half from 6 to 3, profitability is expected on an uptrend as market consolidation drives upward growth, shown in the data yield, has reached an inflection point, growing 14.8% in the third quarter of 2025.
This fundamental industry change brings us to our first thesis, industry rationalization and ARPU regulations. Mimicking India, XL smartphone merger formalized a disciplined revolve, with the HHI index is now exceeding 2019 levels. This rationalization shifts our historical 0.4% ARPU CAGR to our projection 4.6% ARPU CAGR. Pivoting toward profitability, the data yield has increased by 14.8% QOQ, reversing a 6% decline. With the Indonesia's ARPU to disposable income average is just nearly half of its peers' average, this creates a massive headroom for the ARPU expansions. Indonesians spend 8 hours on their social media consuming a video-centric data videos, and with this behavior, we project our data traffic growth from 14.4% to our absolute 18.4% due to the high connectivity with the 5G connection. As a result, the cellular revenue hitting the inflection point, where the 0.4% revenue CAGR accelerating to 4.3% revenue CAGR.
Another value unlocking catalyst for Telkom's earnings and valuations is the strategic spin-off of Indonesia. We are projecting a massive breakout in terms of EBITDA CAGR in 57% and an incremental 6.6 trillion rupiah by 2030. And why are these numbers so significant? because our market is fundamentally imbalanced in terms of demand and supply. If we take a look at the pre-spin-off model, you will see a closed loop. Infrastructure was isolated and only servicing Telkomsel and internal needs. While in the post-spin-off model, Infranexia operates as an independent neutral entity. It allows Telkom to capture high-growth demand from third-party ISPs and other licensed operator. We expect the utilization rate to jump from 1.1 times in 2026 to 1.5 times by 2030, ensuring that our infrastructure isn't just sitting alone. We are targeting a 9.9 times EV/EBITDA multiple, a step up from 9 times multiple seen in the recent precedent transactions. This premium is justified by our scale. Telkom operates 179,000 km fiber optic backbone, which is more than double seen in those recent precedent transactions. By selling a 25% stake, we will generate 24 trillion rupiah in cash, and this will directly translate to shareholder returns, providing 13% incremental dividend yield, increasing from 6% to 6.8%. While the first and second thesis we are talking about the strategic plan of Telkom, thesis 3 we will focus on the execution. In 2025, 6 out of 9 BOD members come from non-SOE background, such as Unilever, AirAsia, XL Axiata, and Indosat. And all of these leaderships ensures that the strategic plan of Telkom aren't just ideas, but are met with private level sector accountability and KPI disciplines. Under Danantara mandate, Telkom are slashing down their holding structure from 60 subsidiaries down to just 22 core entities. And the target here is clear, scaling EBIT margin from 26.9% to a lean 29.8% by 2030. And nearly halving the operation and maintenance expense CAGR from 5.2% to 2.9%.
The ultimate goal, we are unlocking a premium dividend outlook. Telkom is moving past the historical 5.4% yield. Driven by organic and non-organic pillars, we foresee a surge to 9.1% dividend yield by 2030. Moving on to ESG, Telkom shows high commitment with sustainability embedded in its strategy. On environment, Telkom is strengthening their sustainability by increasing their energy efficiency spending, reducing emission with a scope 1 and 2 reduction by 2030, and an increase in asset efficiency through material recovery and reuse. From a social perspective, Telkom shows strong human capital practices, seen through the high employee engagement index, salary safety standard, and workforce diversity. In addition, Telkom shows strong data privacy and security, as there were 0 confirmed data breaches occurred. Governance is supported by strong oversight, with 6 of 9 board members coming from a non-SOE background, effective risk management, and regulatory compliance regarding anti-competitive behavior. Telkom's 8.4 ESG score indicates that it is a strategic advantage rather than a risk, boosting investor confidence and a lower cost of equity.
We believe Telkom's strategic movement and industry consolidation will translate to effective intrinsic value. Hence, we assign a 70% weighting on SOTP DCF and a 30% on SOTP ETA. Capturing Telkom's multi-year growth, our SOTP DCF yields at the target price of 4,310, reflecting a 24.2% upside potentials. We integrate our ESG analysis by applying a discount of 100 basis points to the cost of equity for Telkomsel and Group, resulting in a weighted average cost of capital of 13.3% and 10.4% respectively. This is combined with a terminal growth rate of 3.4% from 10 years average sustainability growth rate. Moving on to our market valuations, our SOTP EBITDA analysis yields a target price of 4,340, reflecting a 25% upside potentials. To accurately value Telkom's diversified portfolio, we apply a sector-specific multiple, which consists of MNO, towers, and fibers, which facilitates Telkom's to relate its EV/EBITDA multiples from 5 times to 7.4 times, as the market is pricing in the high asset network spin-off and the streamlining of subsidiaries. We also conducted a sensitivity analysis, and the result, a decrease in 3% of ARPU, will shape our recommendations so far. Moreover, we also conducted the Monte Carlo simulations, in which a 61.4% buy scenario boosts our buy recommendations. We see a notable downside risk. The 2027 spectrum option process is price for risk. However, Telkom mitigates this by using My Telkomsel app's granular data tracking to define this premium pricing. Moreover, Telkom is motivated by fixed mobile convergence, which shifts the focus from price tapping to ecosystem work. Investors, we believe that Telkom has significant upside potentials, driven by consolidation MNO, the strategic spin of Infanexia, and the enhanced governance. Meanwhile, on the downside risk is limited with a 6.8 dividend yield. Don't miss your chance on this asymmetric risk to reward opportunity. We are Fiducia Capital and we are open for Q&A sessions.
Thank you for the presentation. We will now begin the Q&A session. Judges, time is yours.
Enough.
Do you have the data on their capex efficiency? ROIC?
Yes, we have the data for our capex to sales revenue and our cash buffer. We expect to clarify your questions. Are you asking about how telecoms are going to fund its capex in the future?
No, what I want to know is how Telkom use their capex, the efficiency of their capex to generate the revenue in the past, and how it's going to be in the future, and what is the catalyst for improvement if there is any.
Okay, thank you for your questions. To clarify your questions, you are asking about the historical behavior of the capex from the telecom and the future of the capex usage in the telecom to fund its fixed assets. Okay, so based on our research, we do believe a telecom have maintained their capex to sales above 10%, but it keeps maintaining below the 15% due to the large amount of sales that telecom have. In addition, telecom in the capital-intensive industry, which needs a lot of capex, by maintaining in the 14.8%, we do believe a shareholder can deliver a shareholder total return 31.3% with the 25% upside potential and 6.8 dividend yield in 2026. Hope this answers your questions.
Hello, Fiducia Capital. Congrats on your the shortest presentation, but yet still covers the powerful things. So yeah, well done. My question is on your slide 21. So in your slide 21, you mentioned fiber dominance unlocking high margin exponential growth. Is it one of your theses on this fiber business as to the reason why you recommend to buy Telkom?
Yes, this is part of our second thesis regarding the Infanexia spin-off. And from this thesis, we believe that the Infanexia spin-off will adding more value to Telkom Group, and we forecast EBITDA margin to grow 57% CAGR from 2026 to 2030, as well as an incremental EBITDA of 6.6 trillion rupiah.
Do you have the difference in EBITDA margin for the fiber business and the mobile business?
Yes.
Can we go to appendix? Okay, here is our graph for the resulting additional revenue and also for the fiber capacity and utilized for our explanation synthesis too. So for resulting additional revenue in 2030, we believe that the Infanexia spin-off will add
2.6 trillion to the revenue. Okay. And in slides on your valuation of EV EBITDA, slide 30 something, 38, 39. How do you get the enterprise value for each of the business division?
Okay, thank you for your question. So basically, I subscribe all I divide all the segments of the business, which consists of the from sales, Intel, and the new and the planning to spin off this the Indonesia of this, and we apply a stage specific multiples, which consists of the MMO of 6.6 times, and the towers of 9.6 times, and the fiber of 9.9 times.
Okay, so you apply your industry peers as your valuation benchmark for EV.
Yes, we applied the regional average vertical teams.
Okay, that's all for me for now.
Hi, thank you for the great presentation. Can we go to slide 11 regarding the cardinal and ARPU? Yeah. Hey, just quick question. What's your ARPU growth assumption?
Based on our projection, we project from the 2025 to 2030, the ARPU will grow with the 4.6% ARPU CAGR.
And how did you get that 4.6%? How did you get?
Okay, so basically our ARPU calculation is based on our data yield function and our data usage. Based on our research in the data yield, we believe in the annual basis, the technology nature, the data yield will be declining, as well as the capability of telecom producing a gigabyte of the data will be also declining. And for the other side, for the data traffic, we do believe if we look at the Thailand and the India market, whereas India have the similar behavior with the ARPU to disposable income to Indonesia at 0.8 average, and the Thailand using 2600 megahertz as the 5G spectrum, we do believe the average is the 18.7 data traffic CAGR is a conservative assumptions to project our data traffic.
So tadi berapa? 4.5%. ARPU CAGR 4.5.
The ARPU CAGR is 4.6.
Oh, 4.6. No, the interesting thing is like if you see on the left, so the ARPU is the red line.
Yes, correct. The ARPU is the red line.
So I think it increased from 100 to almost 200. Let's say 100% itu berapa ya? Divided by 7. Yeah, so actually, so is it true that India ARPU CAGR is very, very high post the merger, post the consolidation era?
Yes. The India ARPU CAGR after the consolidation is nearly 7%.
Yeah, 7%. Okay, so that means 4.5 is okay. No, I mean, I really like this slide. Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
You apply minus 100 bips for ESG in your valuations. Where does it come from? And how does it translate into 100 basis point?
Thank you for your question. And to answer this, so we did research to look for several studies which we try to support our argument that higher in ESG score will result in a lower cost of equity. So this is the first article that we found. Even though this is CSR and it's not ESG, but the term CSR in the research could translate to the definition of the current definition of ESG. Moving on, we also found a second research about the relationship between ESG and cost of equity, and based on the result, a higher of ESG score will lower the cost of equity by 134 basis points. And in addition, we also did our own regression to see the relationship between ESG and cost of equity, and we also see a similar result of about a negative 1%.
Okay, thank you, Fiducia Capital. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, team, for your presentation. You may now return to your seats. Now, please welcome the next team, S Capital from IPMI Institute. Please come forward.
Are you ready, T?
Ready.
You will have 10 minutes for your presentation. Please pay attention to the reminders from the timekeepers. The timer will start when you start speaking. Whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
For years, telecom was a giant trap in the price war, 8 billion in asset underutilized. But the landscape has shifted. Today we see a structural rebirth from stabilized mobile market and pivot B2B monetization to a new era of private sector transformations. This is no longer just telecom company. This is Telkom powering Indonesia's digital economy. We, as Capital, initiate by recommendation with three main theses. First, the end of mobile price war at 5% upside. Second, cost efficiency with 7.5% upside. And the last, B2B growth at 12.3% upside, leading to 24.8% upside, reaching at 4,330 rupiah.
As the largest telecommunication company in Indonesia, holding around 47% of mobile market share after industry merger, the market has consolidated into three main players. Telkom also leading fiber to the home market with 60% of market share. Telkom ecosystem integrated multiple business segments with B2C business contribute over 70% of total revenue driven by mobile and fiber to the home. With asset management shifting to Danantara, Telkom expecting higher dividend payout ratio above 90% in line with regional peers. After consolidation, the industry has shifted from price war to rationalization. Telkom position in premium segment with strong network quality and nationwide coverage.
The end of mobile price war is supported by three pillars: accelerating data consumption, market consolidation, and regulatory discipline. Those key pillars underpins an ARPU forecast of 1.5% CAGR. A 15% data usage CAGR fuels growth, and Telkomsel's 2.5 GB usage share shows room for monetization. Indonesia's ARPU to GDP ratio still sits at 0.56%, a moderate result among Asia's peers, suggesting a higher ARPU is still affordable. Post-merger, industry has seen an ARPU uplift of 4.8%. This is in line with regional peers playbook, where Thailand saw a 3.3% ARPU uplift post-merger, and Singapore, a tripoli, maintains a 2.1 ARPU CAGR. While bullish, we remain realistic. Anti-competitive now finds 10% of revenue. Given that, Telkomsel is prioritizing pricing discipline over price hikes. Our second thesis lies on the management shift led by Dian Siswarini. She previously boosted Telkom's XL Axiata's revenue by high single digit, while also reducing XL's cost of service by 9% and also cost per user at XL Axiata by 2% CAGR. This never happened at Telkom Indonesia for the last 5 years. Through her experience and especially through asset control, vendor control, and better decision making, we forecast cost of service ratio to decline from 32% to 28% and margins to recover by 4 to 5%.
As 80% over the past 30 years, Telkom has built the largest of
fixed asset base that value at around 180.5 trillion Indonesian rupiah, and it ranks fourth internationally. As 67% of these assets are connectivity-related assets, with 32% asset are fibers, 30% are towers, and 24% are data centers. But however, these asset utilization are still remains lower than its peers, with 0.03 lower than industry average and 0.08 lower than AIS Thailand, which has a lower fixed asset base. But at the same time, digital infrastructure demand is accelerating, with data center is growing at 30.7, and fiber at 14.3%. That will turning this utilization gap into a clear B2B growth opportunity. Historically, telco B2B revenue is growing at 6% in the period of BUMN digitalization. And looking forward, with support from government and enterprises program, the growth will accelerate to 12% by 2029, that underpinned by a trillion per year from educational digitalization program, spectrum cooperation, and strategic SOE joint ventures, with a future rising demand from ISP and OLO that will resulting a B2B contribution to reach 40% by 2029 and delivering 5.5 growth in the group revenue.
From ESG perspective, Telkom with score 3.1 indicate room for improvement. This improvement supporting by environmental, social, and governance. Environmentally, Telkom has an increasing in emission, but Telkom has clear reduction, 20% in emission. It shows a long-term commitment, also other initiative from the company. Telkom also maintain an inclusive workplace with supported employee with disabilities, also commit to CSR about 0.60% revenue goes to CSR activity. Also support over 21,000 MSMEs through access to capital, digital, and training. From governance standpoint, Telkom benefit from strong board oversight and transparency. Telkom ESG quality reflected in our valuation with lower cost of equity, reinforcing our buy recommendation. On valuation, we use a blend of both and DCF, 50-50 on both DCF and sum of the parts, in which we arrive with 12-month target price at 4,330, resulting at 24.8% upside. And through DCF, we arrive at 4,460, in which this align on our key thesis, and through sum of the parts, we arrive at 4,200, in which this aligns on how investors look at Telkom as infrastructure assets compared to a regular telco. Through DCF assumptions, we arrive at terminal growth of 1.3%, and from the WACC perspective, we use ESG adjusted beta at 0.7, which lower our cost of equity by 1% from previously 12% into 11%, resulting a WACC of 9.3%. We also incorporated our key thesis through margin expansion, especially from the management shift and the B2B growth, resulting a higher cash flow. And through sum of the parts, this captures the re-rating opportunity through 4 segments: Nutra DC as data center, Mitratel as tower company, Infranexia as fiber optics, and Telkomsel as an internet service providers. We chose these 4 subsidiaries due to 1. Domination of the group economics, as Telkomsel contributes the biggest EBITDA about 70% and revenue about 76%. 2. Competitive market positioning, as both Telkomsel and Mitratel lead in their sector. And 3. As a high-growth infrastructure assets. We also incorporate our several impacts into our valuation through, especially to open around commercializations, which give an 18% upside into our base case.
We assess 3 most critical risks that impact Telkom's earning and valuation, starting from competitive risk. The expansion of 5G FWA gives structural threat to IndiHome's pricing power. In 1% decline in ARPU impacts 0.69% decline in share price. And then regulatory risk give a direct valuation overhang. 100 BPS cost increase impacts 14% decline in share price. And the last market risk reflecting to downtrading and weakening pricing power. In 0.5% decline in ARPU impacts 1.15% decline in share price.
Recently, MSCI has expressed their concern about the transparency of Indonesian stock market. In the worst scenario, if Indonesia become frontier market, the estimated passive outflow reached more than 900 million US dollars. Facing all that risk, Telcoms have a strategic for defense that risk from the FMC strategy, efficiency, and capital discipline. Finally, Telkom stands at the solid fundamental and long-term value creations with by recommendation and 12-month target price of 4,330 rupiah, implying 24.8% upside. We believe our thesis speaks for itself.
Thank you, S Capital, for your presentation. We will now begin the Q&A session. Judger, time is yours.
Thank you for the presentation. Slide 1, please. You assigned about 12.3% of your increase in target price, the target increase in the telecom price from B2B as the new growth engine. How do you derive the number since you are using 50-50 of SOTP and DCF?
For these three theses, we arrived at with turning off one of each thesis. Yes, it affects more on the DCF valuation, where each of the thesis, if we turn off the DN of mobile price war, then there is a downside of 5% from our upside. And that is also applied to B2B too, where if we maintain a B2B growth as the same as 6% CAGR, then it reduces by 12.3% for the upside.
So meaning, since B2B is the largest or half of your price upside, is it coming more from SOTP?
The B2B as a new growth engine came from more on DCF valuation.
And do you make a forecast for each of the business in the B2B?
Yes, we make forecast for the enterprise and the WIB section.
You have the data?
We don't do it per company, but we do it per section from enterprise and WIB as seen in the financial report.
Thank you.
You still want to show something? Feel free if... Okay. Ace Capital. I think my question relates to Pak Ari's question earlier. I feel that this slide is a bit risky if you put in, yeah. What is the market cap of Telkom now? 22.1 billion in USD. So you think 24.8% upside in the share price, right? And that is like the total of 5% plus 7.5 plus 12.3. So how do you quantify that? You should be able to link that because it's a fundamental reason why you recommend Telkom. That means you already have the breakdown. The end of mobile price war will increase your earnings by how much. Hence, the valuation will increase by how much. You should put it like PE or DCF on that. So the investor will be able to quantify and you have to be able to link it. Do you have the connection?
Update with PPT.
And the cost efficiency from a management reset 7.5%. How do you get that 7.5% from cost efficiency? And it's like in the beginning of the slide, so that's why it's very eye-catching.
Yes, I would like to answer that question. So yes, in order to get the 24.8% upside, as Edmund earlier mentioned, that we turn off the 1 of and 2 of the key thesis from our thesis.
Therefore, we get the number that resulting of 5.3 for and mobile password and management shift about 7.5% and 12.3% through the new growth engine. Unfortunately, that we didn't have the on the appendix on how we get that, but we did it through the DCF assumptions in where we put as some of the parts as stable as we think that this is more an our intrinsic valuation rather than the market value.
We have also incorporated those impacts of the three theses FNC in the end of price war, where the impact is ARPU grows 1.5% for the next 5 years, and then EBITDA margin to improve from 50 to 54% from management shift, and last B2B grows at 10 to 15% annually.
Okay, thank you. Right, very great presentation. Can we go to slide number 4? Yeah, this one. But before we go to this slide, can I know what's your ARPU CAGR growth?
1.5%.
Okay, 1.5. No. So this one, so Telkom is the one, right, in the middle, right?
Yes, this one,
Yeah,
51
that one, right?
Mbps.
So are you saying that Telkom is more focusing on improving the high speed instead of the price per GB?
Can you go to appendix C10? We have interviewed with experts in the industry, especially from Indosat, where as the industry consolidates, he mentioned that into fewer players, the game shifts from price war to quality wars. So yes, the industry has also mentioned that they are improving from price wars to quality.
Okay. No, I think it's quite coherent with your thesis that your CAGR ARPU is only like 1.3.
Yes, our ARPU remains at 1.5%. This is because when we see other regional peers, such as Thailand post-merger, they only have a 3.3% ARPU uplift, and Singapore, who's already mature, is at 2.1% ARPU CAGR.
Yeah.
Why do we use a 1.5% ARPU CAGR? We are very conservative at 1.5%, very conservative when compared to regional peers. But that is due to Indonesia's ARPU to GDP ratio is still at 0.56%. Therefore, it's still justified of a 1.5% increase.
How about IndiHome? What's the direction of IndiHome? Is it quality or price for IndiHome?
Can you go to appendix? IndiHome market share trend and C18. So in ARPU to GDP ratio of IndiHome or fiber to the home, Indonesia's is considered very expensive at 3.55%. Thus, our trend remains a very conservative one where we have a decline in ARPU for IndiHome. But subscriber is remain to increase as Indonesia's penetration remains low at 22%.
Okay, and one last thing, slide 26 on ESG. 26. Wow. Itu how did you calculate your ESG adjusted beta? Yeah?
So we can go to the appendix E2. So we use the ESG as adjusted beta. We use a 3-year historical ESG score through LSESG standard, and we got 42 Indonesian listed companies. From this regression, we found that standardized at minus, which means it gives a premium into our cost of equity, and then we adjusted the beta through the raw beta that we use about 3 years in daily basis, and then we adjusted, we got
minus 0.307. And therefore, we got a WACC of 9.3 from previously 10%.
And then you got it from the 42 Indonesian listed companies, right?
Yes,
The same sector, how many sectors?
there are several sectors, including telecom, but overall, it's all Indonesian listed companies that has ESG scores in SLSEG standard in 3-year historical. Therefore, we see that this is to make more significant as we see that 42 Indonesian listed companies to make more significant to see that the impact of the whether ESG gives a premium or a discount.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, that's wrap up the presentation, and let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you, Team Ace Capital from IPME Institute. You may now return to your seat.
Now, please welcome our final team, Immortal from Universitas Indonesia. Please come forward. Are you ready, team? You will have 10 minutes for your presentation. Please pay attention to the reminders from the timekeeper. The timer will start when you start speaking. Whenever you are ready, the floor is yours.
We believe that Telkom Indonesia is no longer just telco operator. It is becoming Indonesia's largest digital infrastructure holding. More than a telco, Telkom serves as Indonesia's end-to-end digital connectivity backbone. We, Immortal team, initiate a buy recommendation with a target price of 4,250 rupiah, implying 21% upside from the closing price of January 6, 2026. Our buy recommendation is supported by 3 key investment theses covering industry positioning, strategic transformation holding, and also new growth engine.
Before diving into our investment tactics, let's first look at Telkom, the foundation. Telkom Indonesia has long served as a national digital backbone infrastructure and also supporting the national connectivity. And from the revenue perspective, Telkomsel is contributing more than 50% and remains the core engine of the group. Currently, Telkom is operating more than 50 subsidiaries, expanding its reach, but also increasing the complexity and overlap. And from a strategic standpoint, between 2020 and 2024, Telkom Indonesia is operating under an operational holding model. And in 2025, they are entering a new phase by shifting into a strategic holding, giving them the opportunity to have a better capital allocation, clear accountability, and also unlocking value across the group. Going to our first decade, Indonesia's telco market has officially entering a rational three-player era, shifting the industry focus from a disruptive price war to a long-term profitability. However, compared to regional peers, we can see that Indonesia ARPU still has a massive growth catch-up. And recovery is fueled by double-engine macro support, while monetary easing lowering funding costs and fiscal stimulus boosting the disposable income, providing Telkom for a rational floor for their premium pricing. And Indonesia's mobile speed is still very low, and also the 5G coverage is only at 6.3%. But the upcoming 100 Mbps mandate by the government and also the upcoming spectrum option, this infrastructure gap is actually a massive and also a multi-year growth runway for Telkom. And they are more than ready to capture the moment. As a national digital backbone, we can ensure that Telkom will be able to win the upcoming spectrum. That will not just defend Telkomsel as a market leader in cellular provider, but also driving the ARPU to grow gradually. Investors, we are looking at 78% unpenetrated first year. While the competitors entering the entry level, Telkomsel is ready to gain a huge share of this massive and also long-term FBB expansion in Indonesia. And looking at this point, Telkom is actually well positioned.
with EVNet covering the lower market, and also their unmatched nationwide fiber backbone that will significantly have lower incremental CapEx that drive their subscriber, and also the subscriber growth at FBB market will also offset their FBB dilution, and also further improving their revenue resilience. Ultimately, by combining 5G monetization and also the aggressive penetration, we can ensure that Telkom can achieve a 4.5% CAGR, improve in their revenue, and not just that, and they will also give a potential growth by tapping into the unpenetrated, and also we can ensure that Telkom is actually the primary beneficiary of this digitalization.
Moving to our second thesis, by separating InfraCo, Telkom is looking to unlock higher asset utilization and stronger EBITDA margin. Historically, telco infrastructure trade at 27 to 32 EV EBITDA, often more than double their parent's multiple, highlighting Telkom re-rating valuation potential. We already seen this model works. Following MTEL spin-off, EBITDA margin reached 83% compared to the 53% at the group level. As transitioning toward neutral tower provider, Telkom achieved accelerated third-party tenancy growth and also increased asset utilization. MTEL is at 16.7 EV EBITDA, higher than Telkom 5.7 EV EBITDA at the time. And within 12 months, Telkom's share price rose 25%, demonstrating that separation and neutrality drive valuation rating for the parent company. And Indonesia is the next value crystallization vehicle, owning over 115,000 kilometers of fiber and also 122 of POPs. It is the only truly nationwide backbone in Indonesia. And the scale supported by anchor demand from Telkomsel create a strong barrier to entry and defensible competitive mode. Post-spin-off neutrality allows Indonesia to expand beyond captive demand and position itself as the backbone mega vendor. Over 1,200 ISP player in Indonesia broadband market create a structural wholesale demand for Indonesia, driving dark fiber monetization and also higher margin revenue growth. Beyond fiber, 124 trillion rupiah infrastructure captive assets is remain under monetized. By separating this into specialized InfraCo, could unlock valuation rating from the 5.3 EV EBITDA towards 12.8 global benchmark that will be crystallized through strategic sales. This execution is supported by new management. The group is streamlining 62 subsidiaries to 22 subsidiaries, focusing on OPEX discipline, asset productivity, and also EBITDA margin expansion. Moving to our final thesis, Telkom is looking to become Indonesia's primary engine of data center infrastructure ready asset. The opportunity is massive. AI data center global demand is expected to surge 3.5 times by 2030. This is fueled by a staggering $7 trillion cumulative investment. In Southeast Asia, power demand is expected to grow to 10.7 gigawatts. Now it's dominated by Singapore. But however, it is faces constraint and now creating a critical supply bottleneck. We analyzed the neighboring market for the spillover demand with Johor and Batam as the alternative. While Johor is benefited from the closer proximity, Batam offers social economic zone incentive, and also the electricity prices is 75% cheaper than in Singapore. And Telkom is looking to seize this opportunity through NetTradisi, with many portfolio in data center, and now is executing an aggressive roadmap to achieve a total capacity of 400 megawatt by 2030. And Telkom Capex data center is strategically diversified from capturing international demand and also facilitating domestic demand. It is delivering a unique combination of aggressive growth but also stable cash flow. And Telkom is backed by dominant asset portfolio, solid project pipeline, and also strong government support. And we believe that Telkom 41 trillion spending on data center is financially feasible without compromising its core segment stability. Telkom transformation drive operational efficiency, resulting in robust free cash flow exceeding 20 trillion rupiah annually. And also, Telkom maintained the highest ROIC among peers, reaching 16% in 2024, while also maximizing return through high payout dividend ratio and 3 trillion share buyback strategy. Dear investors, our thesis is more than just a simple narration. It is the foundation of how we value this company.
We value Telkom using 50-50 blend approach SOTP from subsidiaries Telkom and relating separated Telkom asset. Key factor is Telkomsel, Mitratel as market leader, TIF, NitroDC, and other subsidiary top line also realizing potential from them. We ensure all our key theses have direct correlation with our financial, and impacting through valuation the terminal growth. EBITDA margin also potential relating with strong cash generation make a free higher cash flow. Our weighted average cost of capital derived from each subsidiary with a terminal growth in line with national inflation and macroeconomic growth. We apply 12.9 EV/EBITDA to relate unseparated Telkom asset with a 10% conglomerate discount due to Telkom going to be strategic holding company.
Time's up for your presentation, team. We will now begin. We will now begin the Q&A session. Judges, time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Questions. When you make a forecast for Telkom, do you separate into several business, or you just make one single forecast for P&L for Telkom?
Okay, thank you. My name is Taufan and I'll be happy to take your questions. So when we forecasting Telkom, we actually divided into three core business. The first one is Telkomsel, the second one is Mitratel, and the third one is it is our proxy for Telkom Infraco, which is what we call wholesale infra network. So the rationale is from Telkom overall revenue, we got the data for the Telkomsel and also the Mitratel. So we take out both of these core business to get the wholesale network revenue. This is how we forecast it. And we also forecasted each of these core business revenue based on their respective own business and also assumptions. Thank you.
How do you assess Telkom ROIC effectiveness?
Okay, let me answer the question. We assess ROIC with Telkom as a holding company because in other telco, in other country, telco, there are ROIC created with holding company. So we value with Telkomsel plus Mitratel and other subsidiary to to sum up with ROIC to Telkom holding company. Thank you.
Thank you. The number seems quite good.
Hello, Immortal. Teman-temannya di mana?
They're currently at the graduation ceremony, and unfortunately they cannot attend this presentation.
Okay. But still,
of course.
Well done. Yeah. And there's no slides number you got on the slides. So yeah, next time please make sure you edit. It's easier for the audience to see the slides.
Oh, that.
And what is the dividend yield for Telkom?
Okay, let me answer the question. The dividend yield on Telkom is based on their policy, 60 until 90% dividend payout ratio. At the dividend yield is based on last price at 6 January 3,520.
Yeah. So what is the yield based on 3,500?
Yes.
The dividend yield?
I'm sorry, the dividend yield based on our target price 4,260.
Okay. So, yeah, Mike, because you keep mentioning delivering a better free cash flow, you know why cash flow is important? It's to be distributed to the shareholder as form of dividend as well. So, and you put dividend payout, but you don't put dividend yield. So it's a bit off the, it's an anti-climax gitu. You should translate it into dividend yield. So yeah, just so next time aja on dividend yield. And also for Mitratel, if you're using SOTP, do you think it's better to use Mitratel EV EBITDA target or just the current market cap of Mitratel?
Okay. Let our Mitratel valuation is based on Mitratel current valuation, market value.
Or you use the current market cap of Mitratel, not using your target EV EBITDA? But it doesn't say very clearly. It's implying you're using the target EV EBITDA. So on Mitratel. And the buyback, why do you think the share buyback increases higher return for stakeholders?
But first of all, we assume because of the Telkom is directly participating to acquire their share from the public, it is will be directly support to drive the share price directly. So we think that the share, but this 3 trillion rupiah share buyback is gonna impact shareholder return as a whole. That's why we put it as fund. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you, Immortal. So can we go to slide 14? Take it. 14, one pause, one pause. About macro. No, 14, 1 4. Yeah, this one. So I think your team is the only one who has this macro slide. So is this your macro forecast or based on Bank Indonesia Ministry of Finance?
Yeah. So thank you for the question. That macro is from all the actual number from the Bank Indonesia. Okay.
But like in terms of your opinion, will the Fed cut rate, and how about the BI? In terms of your opinion, not the Ministry of Finance.
Okay. Go based on the backward and also BI rate. We are expecting that the rate will be out.
And the Fed rate?
The Fed rate. Yeah, I think looking at current declining throughout the time. I think for the current period, I think the current quarter Fed rate, I think will also hold their current rate, knowing their condition of the macro currency.
Okay, let's go to slide 16. Okay, so you forecast declining data yield but increasing ARPU, right? Yeah. How do you reconcile both of you?
Okay, so the declining data yield is we see that because why is the data yield declining but the ARPU grow? Because with the integration of 5G network in the futures, we see that the data consumptions will be significantly boosted. So while the data yield itself is declining, but the overall spending of the each person or average revenue per users will be improved gradually because well because because of the speed of the 5G, they actually will gonna consume the data a lot more faster. That was the thing. Thank you.
How about the subscriber growth? What is the assumption of the subscriber growth?
Right.
So for the subscriber growth, we see that
for the subscriber growth, we see from national
so we think that Telkom will also will keep their market leadership positions.
Time's up, team.
Let's give Immortals from Universitas Indonesia a round of applause. Thank you, team. You may now return to your seats. And with that, we have officially concluded all of our finalist presentations. The level of analytical rigor and the sheer dedication we witnessed today have been absolutely outstanding. Let us give one massive, well-deserved round of applause to all 7 teams. We will also like to express our sincere gratitude to our esteemed judges for your time, thoughtful evaluation, and valuable insights throughout today's competition. May we kindly invite all judges, Ibu Irwanti, Bapak Herman, and Bapak Ari, to come forward to receive a token of appreciation. And for that, we kindly invite Bapak Edwin Michael Ridwan CFA to come forward to present the token of appreciation. May we kindly request the judges and Pak Edwin to remain on stage. And now we would like to invite all boards of CFA Society Indonesia to come forward, also Pak Arif Budiman, to take a picture together. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a well-deserved break. Lunch is now served, and please enjoy your meal. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we have all been waiting for, the announcement of winners. The judges have made their decision, and we are excited to reveal the results. To present the awards for 7th place winner, we kindly invite Bapak Gary Yonatan Tejakusuma CFA to come forward. Starting us off, our 7th place winner is Amana from PKN Stan. Please come forward. Amana from PKN Stan, please come forward. All of the team members. Congratulations once again. Now you may now return to your seats. Thank you, Pak Gary. You may kindly return to your seats. Next, to present the awards for 6th place winner, we kindly invite Bapak Ricardo Silayan CFA to come forward. Moving on to the 6th place is Immortal from Universitas Indonesia. Please come forward. To your seats. Thank you, Pak Ricardo. And to present the awards for 5th place winner, we kindly invite Bapak Ignatius Denny Wicaksono CFA to come forward. And securing our 5th place position today is Alpha Capital from Universitas Bina Nusantara. your seat. Next, to present the awards for our fourth and third place teams, we kindly invite Bapak Triono Sudijo CFA to come forward. Taking our fourth place spot this year is team is Capital from IPMI Institute. Please kindly remain in front. And securing third place today is it's Alpha Ventures from Universitas Prasetya Mulia. Congratulations, and please come forward to receive your award. Thank you, team. Thank you, Bapak Triono. You may kindly return to your seat. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now down to our final two awards. It's obvious who's going to represent Indonesia in sub-regional competition. But who will be the champion? To present the award for our grand champion and our first runner-up, we are honored to invite Bapak Edwin Michael Ridwan CFA to come forward. This is the moment we have all been waiting for. Congratulations to let's guess letter. It is Eternals from Universitas Indonesia as the champion for Indonesia Final CFA Institute Research Challenge 2025-2026. A huge congratulations to our champion, and please make your way forward. So much, team. You may return to your seats. And of course, the celebration continues because joining our champion to proudly represent Indonesia at the sub-regional level is our first runner-up, Fiducia Capital from Universitas Prasetya Mulia. Thank you, our runner-up. You may return to your seat. Congratulations to our champion and first runner-up. We'll now advance to the sub-regional level competition. And to every single team that stood today, thank you. We know exactly what it takes to get here. The late nights, revisions, and sheer analytical grit. It takes immense courage and dedication to present at this standard. And you should all be incredibly proud of the work you delivered today. Again, congratulations to you all. We would like to extend our sincere appreciation to our sponsors, BRI Manajemen Investasi, SBM Institut Teknologi Bandung, Kaplan EduPark, Financial Modeling Institute, Stockbit or Bibit, and Sukor Sekuritas. And special thanks to our dedicated volunteers, Ellen Galuh Primurdia, Nuikita Wakit, Natadea Apriana, Miftah Shifa Mahadivi, Salsabila Siti Khadijah, and Aprilma Tumanger. Before we conclude today's session, let's give a round of applause. And before we conclude today's session, let us take one final photo together to commemorate this special occasion. We kindly invite all guests, judges, finalists, faculty advisors, and PICs to come forward and join us, please. So that concludes our event today. Thank you for your participation and support. We look forward to seeing you again next year. So have a wonderful afternoon.